All right, we're starting.
Sheet.
Let's see if it's going through this time. Yep, starting up. Waiting for Terminator juice. I don't know how to get the. I got two T's.
Oh yeah,
we got
two
echo.
T's, man.
Oh no!
Just
Right as
like
we start.
Echo.
just
I don't know
we
how
like
to.
it.
Yeah, I'm definitely some echoing going on.
The
Hold on.
fuck is
Whoa,
that
T.
spaceship?
God damn.
I'm gonna mute you for now.
This is T extreme. I'm telling you.
Well, the echoing's gone. So. All right. So what's up? To 0 people watching right now. I don't know. Sometimes it takes a minute to catch up, but assuming someone's
Oh, I saw
tuned.
Mohammed in the chat.
Do you
I
need the
can see
live?
6 people watching.
Okay. Yeah, it just hasn't updated on my end. But yeah, so we're waiting on Terrell and Robert, but I thought we'd just go ahead and start. We were chit-chatting about the Dreams on PS4. Somebody made a 3D Sonic game that looks not too far away from Sonic Adventures back on the Dreamcast, and this game's been out for what, a couple of days or a week or something. So I'm kind of curious what people are going to be able to create given more time, like 6 months to a year. I think we're going to be blown away with what actually.
I gotta look up some videos of that still. I can't believe how fast people are pumping out like actual good shit. But did you see the Dead Space thing? Like, fuck.
I think you need to know. Someone said it's on Digital Foundry. I tried to watch just to see what the hell it was, but it was so technical. It sounds like it's a lot like Unreal Engine, where you just like add tasks onto it and just build it up. But it looks like it's a simplified looking like structure. Like it looks like a black screen with little speech bubble looking things, and then they just all connect together. I don't know how it works or how that works, but what's up, Laker Link? What's up, Bad Latency? The Z Killer. I think that's the first time I've seen that name. Lenny Wright, Muhammad in here. So anybody interested in that Dreams? I don't want to call it a game, but I honestly didn't even know it was coming out until people started taltalking about it like last week.
Yeah.
Depends on what you mean with. Go ahead, fuck it.
I'm going. I was gonna say, yeah. I'm not gonna rush out to buy anything, but it's not expensive. I think it's launched quite cheap actually. It's about £35 here, which is probably about $40, $42 maybe. But yeah, it's another creation tool, isn't it? But I don't know what I'd do with it. It was a bit like Mario Maker. Once you've dabbled in it and you've got a few ideas out of the way, I'm not quite sure what I'd want to do with it and how far I'd want to. But it looks like an impressive tool set. Just for the general public to use. Have a
I
dabble.
wouldn't make the Mario Maker comparison per se. That's a bit overkill.
I'm not comparing it to Mario Maker. I'm comparing it to Mario Maker in terms of me wanting to build stuff on such a scale, to the next level.
Yeah,
I don't do next level Mario Maker levels.
I think this
I do basic ones, but then
I was just gonna say this looks like you could probably create a full on game from.
Yeah.
Which is something Mario Maker can't really do. I know what you're saying though. You're just saying how the creation kind of fades.
I mean, this is the Little Big Planet guys, isn't it? So they got people started off on our Little Big Planet. You can make loads of little games that people then shoot 'em ups and platforms and all this stuff. So it's just the next level, and I'm not chewing out the software at all. I think the software looks great. It's just I've always wanted to do game design. I always wanted to do it, but now I'm just like, I don't know if I have the patience or not to make something worthwhile. So.
I wonder if any Go ahead.
I was gonna say I'm actually the opposite. I don't want to do game design. I started doing game design when I was younger, and I was like, "Fuck that shit! I don't want to do this shit. I don't want to turn like my hobby into my work or anything." I like creating. I love creating shit. I like customization and all that shit. But this is like way next level, where you basically like program, from what I understand, from the bottom up. You can do anything. I'm like, I already barely have enough time to play all my games and shit. Like, I don't want to go into that. But I'm definitely interested in it, not to buy it, but I want to see. I'm curious to see how far people can take this shit. So I'm definitely interested in like keeping an eye on it and what it can do, but I'm never getting this.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't get it either, but I guess somebody made something really cool and it's like worth playing, like just their game. You know, I could see that being in something to entice me or other people. You know, like, oh my god, somebody made this really cool game. It's like amazing, and it's like the only way to play it obviously is to have dreams. So I could see that being something. I don't know if I'd even try to make anything. Just looks like a language I don't understand, and I don't have time to be trying to figure that out. I'd rather just be playing really good games that are already made. But if somebody made a cool game inside this game, you know, then it might be worth having to check out. And I know Terrell's here now. I don't know if you caught where I said, you know, somebody actually made a Sonic game as good as the Sonic team using Dreams.
No, I didn't hear any of that part. I think I came in on Clocktick talking, so I didn't.
Yeah, it's on the screen right now. I mean, it's not. It doesn't look absolutely amazing, but it's.
Let's go look.
It looks like Sonic 06 at least. I mean,
that's not.
You guys hear me?
How dare you?
Yeah, I hear you, T.
Hey, Robert.
That was T.
Hello.
Oh, that's Robert.
No.
That's a terrible thing to say.
But this only been out a few days or whatever, so I mean, it can only get better, I would assume.
Well, yeah, I mean, the game's only didn't the game just come out?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also, the Sonic modding community has so much shit. I don't need this. It looks good though. It does look really good, but the modding community for Sonic is ridiculous.
No, it doesn't look good.
That's an unleash.
The animation.
If I may say a few words.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mr. T.
I don't forgot what the fuck I was gonna say now. I've been trying to jump in for the last 5 minutes. The first couple minutes, I didn't realize my mic was muted, so that was weird.
He was talking to himself again.
I was like, "What the fuck? Fuck you guys! You can't hear me."
Hell no!
Don't I get a turn?
No. Oh wow, they recreated.
No,
I'm sorry.
I was surprised that Robert already was like into the game. I didn't know anybody knew about it or was caring about it. But I want to use it not for game design or even playing other people's games unless there's something really cool out there. I want to do I want to enhance my YouTube channel doing animation type stuff.
Oh yeah, plus there's a whole like 3D art you could do.
Yeah.
That's
the kind of stuff I'm interested in using it for. Like doing like even visual novel type of stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's a good idea.
Also, just realized that was the first level of Sonic Adventure. I didn't realize that for a second. I was like, "Oh shit, that's Emerald Coast." All right, let's go.
Doesn't it feel like possibilities? I don't know that they're probably not limitless, but it feels like
it's almost.
That's still pretty nuts. That's
because
that's
if you just look at Sonic's animations, look janky as hell. So I don't know if that's anything that can be changed or fixed, but
that's normal though. So
I don't know, man.
How could you, man?
But look at those. So look at what you said. Like that's great. Like I mean, the shit that you're making, and people are making some crazy shit. Those are all like again.
I think I saw the Fallout thing on Twitter, and that shit was nuts.
Yeah, but
but also just look at what he's made. What
Tsushima
kind of showing it right now. Like the shit there is showing. There's a lot of original stuff too, though.
You could just make moving art, like moving 3D art, where it's just like grass blowing in the wind. Like this is a Wipeout game. I was like, holy shit! I haven't even watched. I didn't even know Dreams existed till like a week ago when people started talking about it. I had no idea.
F-Zero game.
Yeah, they made Sea of Thieves.
I've been sending Dream stuff in the chat for the past few months. Yo.
Yeah, but I remember.
I must have just been missing it. Well, no, I caught you in the last couple of months, but
I'd say in the last weeks, the only thing I've noticed.
See.
Shit, so just minutes tier as well. Fucking hell.
You know, somebody's gonna create shit from Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter. Somebody's gonna make fucking Hogwarts probably.
Oh yeah, cool.
Oh man, that's gonna be great.
Not even just even conceptual stuff. Like you could probably sell something or an idea to somebody using this tool. Like,
oh yeah, definitely.
Because especially like with I know from Microsoft.
Look at that! Look at that cartoon when you saw that cartoon.
That's crazy. Like as a filmmaker, like it's so much easier to sell your idea to a studio with the visual aid.
Yeah, this could be like a previs.
This would be nice previs. That's what I'm thinking. Like of using it for pre-visual stuff. So I'm excited for that.
But you saw that fluid animation of that
it's dope.
that little pixelated dog kind of fox thing.
Yeah, that
It
was
was
crazy.
super lucky.
That was pretty smooth.
yeah.
If I say something like that.
That was clean, man.
Yeah, that's probably the more. I'm way more interested in it than trying to make a game.
Juice, I tagged you on Twitter on the Sonic one that I saw yesterday.
All right, let me.
Making your own animations. I mean, that's cool, especially for somebody like me. I mean, it's not cool
Well,
for
you
everybody, but, like,
you've done that anyway. Like that's
I've done that before, but like using this would be so much easier than having to like hand animate stuff.
Wow, this looks even more like this is detailed as hell, but
I know
it's just a Twitter video, so it's gonna look. I'll drag it over. It's gonna look really low quality, but
let's see it. But one thing that I'll say is that again they do have their own like apparently story mode, kind of like Mario Maker, you know.
Yeah. I just read Lenny Wright's comment. It's hilarious.
Oh, what is that?
Nice. Moving 3D art like most PlayStation game.
Bravo, man. Touche on that one. Like this is really low quality, but look at this fucking. I wish it was higher quality because sometimes seeing something like really low quality
so good.
will hide.
Right?
Will hide like some of the flaws.
Good.
Yeah, that's clean. Yeah,
that's crazy. Let's go.
That looks better than.
I'm telling you, somebody's gonna make a 3D Sonic game that's right up there with Generations for people. Like,
I mean, they've already been doing that.
It's not quite Sonic Speed, but.
Yeah, that's the only thing it doesn't have, but it's kind of realistically that's just something hard to emulate in games.
Yeah.
You have to kind of treat
again though. I mean, the game's been out for 72 hours.
But the thing is, I'm cool with that because I want a more adventure style Sonic game, one that's not all about racing, speed.
Yeah. Well, but I think someone's gonna make some crazy. Like it's gonna look like some identical thing where you're just like, come on, man.
Just hire them, put that shit on the disc, and let's go.
Yeah, I know, right?
I wouldn't mind if somebody made a Sonic game that played a little bit, slower pace, a little more platforming, just using the characters.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
You mean like Sonic?
That was kind of Lost World.
Actually, Lost World is kind of like that.
Yeah,
Lost World
people's biggest complaint, ironically enough, people's biggest issue with that game is that game was too Mario for its own good.
That they kept saying that it's like, why does he keep slowing down?
I wouldn't call it Mario.
No, I'm serious. That's the way they always complain about it. It's like, oh, they took inspiration from the plumber and they shouldn't have done that. And I was like, oh.
My only problem with Lost World was the fucking selling the shit. Without that, I would have loved it because I liked the Zelda DLC of it because it didn't have too much of that.
The Zelda DLC was kind of was geek.
That was much more open.
Yeah, that was pretty good stuff.
I like the side-scrolling Yoshi stuff as well. I mean, my problem with Sonic Lost World was is that I didn't mind the slowdown, but it was the slowdown, just the more steady platform and stuff. But it's how they were trying to do the momentum, and
that's because the
momentum of the game just felt so off.
Yeah, because they gave Sonic a double jump, but the second jump killed all forward momentum. So if you didn't know that going into it, you would spend the first section of levels just dying because you would think you'd be able to make a jump and then you would just completely miss it.
I'm just wondering why all these videos say 7, 8, 9 months ago, a year ago that have Mario 64.
Because it's been out.
The early access, people.
The
creators.
So that's all Game Explain's showing is what this video from 8 months ago.
And is at this point, can we call Super Mario 64 the greatest game of all time? Because that's the
I thought y'all already did that. I thought that was already
that's the first thing everybody runs to is let's recreate Mario 64.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many videos on YouTube already.
It's also Mario. Mario is just going to be
60. It's not like they're creating fucking Odyssey or 3D World or Galaxy. They're making it's always Mario 64.
But Super Mario 64 is the easier one to do anyway.
It's easy. Yeah, it's easier to do.
It's the easiest to do. Also, wasn't there a recent thing where someone downgraded Sunshine to work in Mario 64's engine or something? I saw.
Well, I don't know.
Wow, this looks trash though.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's not great stuff.
That's what I said about this depth. The toolkit is great, but until I mean, when you
It's not bad.
It's
I wouldn't
No,
say it's trash.
this is okay for a first start. Like,
Yeah, about to say
Yeah,
like this is.
I mean,
these
for
people-
what it takes to make, but it's still like
this was so hard.
obviously,
the way Mario
the proportions
moves,
are way off.
the way Mario walks looks worse than when he's running.
But you can actually jump through the painting. I mean, that's
Mhm.
cool. Not this one, but
Yeah.
Yeah, is this the
The other-
old?
there was-
Yeah, this is the
there
old
was-
one.
yeah.
I hate clicking on Game Explain, but let's see what their video if it's a newer
I
version.
was gonna say you should just go.
There's a lot of spite.
the game explain when I watched it, and that doesn't even have paintings. I don't think.
No,
it's just
this looks.
it's just.
What about the?
just
What
a
about
lot.
the-
What does the Donkey Kong look like? I didn't see that.
I'm trying to get to it.
Once you click on, you're in the recommends for
There we
life,
go.
man.
This
Oh,
looks pretty
okay.
good. I mean, just as far as the density of the
Considering it's
environment.
the first attempt, I'm cool.
Yeah,
with
this is really
It's the
cool.
animations that are gonna really.
it. Oh wow.
Oh, look at Donkey Kong.
Oh my
That's-
god, the
I mean,
DK.
that's-
Even
that's
has
pretty good.
Diddy
I mean,
has.
all it does is make me want another 3D.
Look at
Donkey
Diddy's
Kong.
That's pretty
backpack.
good.
Like this. I mean, that looks
That's
pretty good.
Yeah,
Why
that,
can't-
that DK one looks pretty nice.
I'd buy Dreams to play that shit.
I know, right?
Fuck me. Maybe another Donkey Kong by the.
Damn, yo,
This looks-
looking
I mean-
at that. Looking at that, man. Like, can we get another 3D?
This I ain't gonna lie. Like this is. I
Remember
mean,
the angry
obviously,
movie.
That's
Nintendo
really
64 was early 3D gaming, but I mean, as far as like the movement and the camera and stuff, this looks
The weight.
definitely better than what was done in the early days of the 3D era. But just in the hands of a really talented group of people or an actual developer, I'd just be curious how good can this stuff get. So
That's part of the reason why the ROM hack community is always so interesting to kind of keep up with, because depending on the franchise you're into, depends on how much like interesting kind of games you can get. There's not as many of 3D Mario ROM hacks as there is of 2D Mario, but that's also because I think some people actually prefer one over the other.
Do you see what we get kind of more excited about though? It's like the stuff that we've never had. So we look at that 3D Sonic, we're like, oh man, this is a Sonic I want because we've never had it. And then we see Donkey Kong, it didn't look pretty clean in HD. We're just like, man, give us a fucking 3D Donkey Kong.
I know.
Like,
I think the reason for that is why we also get a lot of like incredible indie games. It's because it's like gamers, they know what we want.
I
So
mean,
a lot
they
of
want what
gamers-
we want.
No, because a lot of gamers and they became
They want the
indie
same
developers
shit.
to make
Yeah,
those
we all
games
want the
and that
same
kind of
thing.
shit. Yeah, and so it's like a lot of developers like AAA, they just want to make money. They don't really think about the games anymore and shit. So, we know what we want. So that's why, if we don't get it, then we just fucking make it ourselves.
I wonder if you could like create Splatoon inside this game, like if it has the tools to create like a competitive
I'm
game
sure,
like that,
man. I'm sure, like you're able to do.
You could
some
probably do
crazy
something
shit.
close.
or make a great single player
Again,
game.
if you look at that Fallout, I don't believe you can't make anything you really want.
I was just gonna say that too. Like,
Did
now
you
that
see
I've
the
seen
Dead
this Donkey
Space?
Kong, the Sonic,
There
I was gonna say,
hasn't-
and I was,
I mean, there
I was
hasn't
just gonna
been-
say the Dead Space, yeah.
There hasn't been a something that shows me what you can't do yet. So, you know what I mean? Like, so I don't believe it.
There's going to
I
be
think you can do
YouTube content creators who have their entire career will be based around dreams, probably.
So pretty much like Minecraft.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what the-
Well, I mean, one thing I'll say is that oh, I forgot. Never mind.
That's already happening though. That was happening with the beta. I saw a bunch of channels that only show dream stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So,
yeah, but I don't think the game's gonna. I mean, I would hope it sells well, but like when I went to go, because annoyingly, my copy of that's a loud someone passing by. I don't know if you heard that.
Yeah.
But
We heard it.
yes, annoyingly, a new copy of Dreams that I bought was cracked. And that sucks. So I had to actually, and I went to Best Buy, and when I went to return it, they didn't have copies there. And it's not because normally they're just stocked, but I think it's because I don't think Sony stocked a lot. Like I don't think they think the game's gonna sell that great. It's only $40 compared to 60. So I don't
that's
even think
almost
they
a
think
game. I don't know. I feel like these types of games, like that, I bought Mario Maker digital because it's just like I just want it always there for when I want to pop in, play it, and not have to be like, oh fuck, I got I got Doom and Doom Eternal, and I just play that. You know, like I know it sounds silly, but these types of games that you might want to come back to at any given moment, I just feel like are lend themselves to being digital. For me personally, I would think this would be a digital purchase for me over physical.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, I'm actually torn, but I think I'm gonna go digital with this.
Yeah, I don't.
Well, yeah, it's $40, so you know it's gonna be $20 in a couple months probably. Because unfortunately, I mean, that's one of the things I kind of want to talk about. You know, we'll get into the main topic. Well, I don't know if it will actually be the longest topic we talk about, but because Clackett had his video yesterday had some good points in it that I kind of want to discuss. Another thing I want to discuss is the fact that Sony's coming out with, like, not that this is a big game, but this just came out in Media Molecule, whatever. They're pretty, you know, they got a pretty good reputation with Sony and with the Little Big Planet series, but they just come out with this game. Then you got The Last of Us Part 2, you got the Final Fantasy 7 remake, Ghost of Tsushima, you know, all coming out this year. And you know, usually at the last year of a console, you get maybe one game. Like I think The Last of Us came out the last year of the PS3. Yeah. To me, it's just like, it's crazy to have, you know, the three pretty big games. I know 2 are huge games with Final Fantasy and The Last of Us Part 2 are huge. And then I think Ghost of Tsushima will do pretty well. To come out in the last year, and we talked about this before, I almost feel like Sony should just do a March 2021 release of the PS5, because it just feels weird to have these major games hitting, and at the end of the year, supposedly we got new consoles coming.
Yeah.
And I don't know what you guys think. Was that a good idea? Is that gonna hurt the game sales? Is it gonna hurt PS5
to me,
sales?
It reminds me a lot of the PS3, the end of that life cycle, where Sony, I feel like Sony was finally like really in its stride, and then they kind of just cut the legs off of their console. I feel like it's the same thing here. You're still putting out quality experiences, and like you were mentioning, just this is probably one of their better years, especially considering their early years to me were kind of dull. Why cut the legs off? Which is funny because it also, I don't know if you want to get into it, but I don't know if you heard about the report that supposedly Sony's concerned about pricing for the PS5 due to shortages of memory that they're needing.
Yeah, because apparently they said that it cost them $450 to make it.
Well, right, that's currently just the bill of materials, and then another $20 for assembly, so it'll be $470.
So the question, then I think the question is currently is whether or not is Sony gonna take a hit to sell it at a competitive price, or are they gonna, you know, price it at like $500 or something, or $470 to still make a profit off it? Because they were comparing it to the PS4, and the PS4 only took $381 to make, like per console.
I think they
made money off of it.
I mean, console prices, I can understand. Like the N64 was $199 and the GameCube was $199. I forget if the PS2 was $199. The Xbox, I don't know what the launch price was. It was $300.
Yeah, it's $300. Yeah.
And the Xbox, I think, was $200 or $300. I can't remember which.
It was $300.
And then, you know, now last generation we got $400 systems, and that seemed to be the sweet spot.
$600 with the PS3.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sony had to fuck up once to learn.
But I mean, that was 2006. I think $500 now. I don't think there's any getting away from it because of A, you got the inflation and stuff, and B, just what they're actually putting in there is current generation CPU and GPU, which is pretty much unheard of since the 360 probably was the last system that came out that was like on par with PCs when it came out. And you know, with the solid state drives have come way down in price, so that's probably not as much of a cost as it would have been. But I think 500's realistic. I would be absolutely shocked if it's anything below, especially with the build being
I also think Sony has enough goodwill going into this next gen that they could get away with charging $500, even if I feel like people would have more of an issue with Xbox doing it than Sony doing it. And it's primarily because Sony's literally spent this entire generation just kind of just hitting it, just hitting the
And
goal
the pros
for the most part.
The pro's been 400. Never. I mean, it has drops on Black Friday and stuff. That's been the price of the pro since day one, and the PS4. Obviously, the Slim got a drop. So, I mean, yeah, 400 would be amazing.
I don't see him selling it at a loss because they did that for too long and that cost them. I mean,
yeah, I don't think
PS3 was like $250. They were losing $250 every console they sold. PS2, same thing, and I don't see Sony going back to that. I don't think they want to do that.
I was gonna say as well that considering the success of the PS4, it's not like I see it as just like Sony has like goodwill or whatever with the gamers. I see it more as with how good the PS4 went, they can permit themselves. I don't see them selling it at a loss. They have no need to, considering how good the PS4 went. They can just put it at like 500, and then people will get it. I mean, everybody bought the fucking PS4. There was no fucking games on it for like a year.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm saying the goodwill from this gen. The fact that like people bought the PS4 and nobody was disappointed with the console for the most part. I don't think there weren't really any major issues with the console, and people got the games they wanted. So going into the next gen, when they're going into the next gen,
mic drop.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say you're not gonna mic drop on Microsoft this time around because
it's not gonna be as ridiculous as it was last gen where PlayStation got away.
Yeah,
they can't put people out this is how we trade games, or this is how we play our friends'
love
games.
that shit so much.
Like they don't,
because Microsoft's going to drop even a cheaper one as well. The other version.
Supposedly they're waiting to see what Xbox is doing, but the rumors around Xbox is supposedly they're going to have like 2 different SKUs anyway.
Right.
So you're going to get undercut anyway. I'd just say fuck it and go for the 500.
I'd be shocked if
why blow money on it? Just make it where you're making money on it.
If Microsoft, they're even pushing even a more powerful, from what the reports are. Who knows if they're true or not? But the Switch reports turned out to be true, and these ones seem pretty legit. It was like an AMD leak from testing from like last July or whatever, and the Xbox seems like and we've seen the design, and they said it's definitely gonna be the most powerful. I'd be shocked if the Series X is anything but 500 plus. I mean, I know that it'd be stupid to go any higher, but you're talking about potential performance that, I mean, you'd have to go out right now and spend $600-700 on a GPU to get.
Do you think they'd be able to get away with charging more than 500?
No, I think it's 500 is the baseline though. That's kind of the PS4, maybe PS5 they'll go to 450 and do like a in the middle kind of situation where we'll meet you halfway.
Like, here's the thing, though. I think Sony can permit it, for example, to sell the thing 500, even 600. I think that could work. I don't think Xbox has that same leniency.
Well, that was my concern. Xbox doesn't have the goodwill of the gamers.
Yeah, exactly.
Carrying them through.
They barely have the games. They have been struggling since the beginning. They're like literally like dead in Japan, Like, I don't think they can just release like a
never been alive in Japan.
The best-selling Xbox game is on the Nintendo Switch. It's like so. Like Xbox doesn't have has nowhere near the same level of leniency to get away with 500. The only reason why they could justify 500 if it was like it has to be such a beast of a console, or at least has to be better than Sony's.
Well, what it's sounding like is it's going to be about, how the PS4 is more powerful than the Xbox. Like it was,
right?
Teraflops don't paint the whole picture, but it was like Xbox was like just over 1, and the PS4 is 1.8. So whatever percentage that is, 20%. It's going to be. If the Xbox is like 20-30% more powerful than the PS5 and it's the same price, that would be an interesting. I know there's really no comparison for like as far as the IPs that Sony has, and the fan base is definitely more loyal. But if they're the same price and there's a significant advantage for Xbox in power, I just wonder how many people would would abandon all the PS4 owners who would jump ship again and go back to.
I don't know,
Xbox.
man. I think the defining factor in that situation is going to be the IPs. And if Xbox, go ahead.
I think the defining factor will be Halo Infinite. It's like, will people want to scoop up an Xbox for a launch title Halo? Like, it's going to be, honestly, that's going to be if it doesn't do it, Halo, I think the whole generation isn't going to do it. I really think
Halo. But here's the thing, though, like counting on like the Halo fan base to sell an entire line of consoles. No, Sony doesn't need, for example, like one specific type of fan, because people just buy PlayStation because they have a wide variety of games that have regular output and shit. I think if Xbox really wants to keep up or sell properly, they need like a really good fucking launch lineup that isn't just Halo and I don't know. Halo fucking whatever that.
Well, they'll probably have
to carry it. But Halo has to like jumpstart it.
If they have a Forza Horizon and not just a standard Forza Motorsports, like, I mean, as someone who played the last one, I can tell you, like, I haven't had that much fun in a racing game since it's like Burnout. I didn't play Paradise, but it's like an open world Burnout. It's just a fantastic game, and if they can continue that quality of a game and put out Forza Horizon 5 and Halo, I mean that's a typical Microsoft lineup, but
they need a third person over the shoulder jungle atmospheric game because that's what people like to buy.
I think the problem Xbox still has is that its fan base is still not that diverse. So
that's what I mean. Yeah,
it's still, and it's not. And to be fair to them, I will give them credit as far as this generation is concerned. They fucking tried. They definitely tried to kind of like push different kinds of games, and for some reason, unlike like even Nintendo can kind of change its demographic, but for some reason, Xbox, their games are kind of just stuck in this line, and I don't know what the fuck. Realistically, I don't know what you do in that situation. When you go this many generations with your gamers literally only going towards gun shooting games and like sports titles.
But here's the thing, though.
Less and less towards their main Halo.
But you can't say we don't know what's coming. They obviously acquired some good studios.
That's fine.
They've been working on stuff 2 to 3, 4 years. You don't know. They might come out with some stupid bangers, and everybody's like, "Oh, it could change just like that." It's because the same thing happened. 360 dudes ran over to PS4. Those dudes were not loyal. They were like, "Oh,
yeah, of course. Yeah.
We ain't got nothing going on over here. We're going to PS4," and those dudes can come right on back.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
And what about?
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say the studio that made the Outer World, which everybody who played it seemed to really like. Their next game is gonna be exclusive to
well, they already showed their next game. I don't know if you saw that.
Which one?
Well, it was that kid right there, like these kids and people. The Xbox guys aren't liking it.
That's not the one where they're like small, are they?
Yeah, they're like small.
I think that looked like to me like just one of the B team.
I don't know, man.
I don't think that's the main. I don't think that's the main team. Otherwise, like they just put out the Outer Worlds. I don't know how that game would be that far along if it was their main team, but either way.
But regardless, but again, just something like that, like these dudes aren't accepting it for some reason.
Yeah,
see that.
That's because for some reason Xbox has
like accounts are like, what is this?
It's all the dude. I mean, there's a lot of dude bros.
It's literally Xbox has the only fan base I know that has like their hardcore fans who seem to like Xbox more for their features than their fucking games.
Yeah, no, it's honestly very true though. That's the weird part is that again, like. I don't see these dudes out there supporting Sunset or Recore or I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
they'll show up for Fable 4 though. They'll show up. They drop a Fable 4.
Why is that one the exception? I don't get it.
I don't know. These dudes are strange to me too. I have no idea.
And they're excited for Ori and the Will of the Wisp.
I don't understand that. How are you?
Because it looks it's undeniably gorgeous looking game from a technical and artistic standpoint. So it's like hard.
I'm just not like I'm down in the game and they're being excited for Ori. But why is Ori okay? But like if you flip the script and you look at something like Sunset Overdrive and Recore, like why are those like all right, whatever.
I don't know, but
like
Muhammad's
even Cuphead.
I was gonna say Cuphead too. Cuphead was okay.
Cuphead is one of those titles that like you got a couple people who liked it, but it was only really because it's kind of an old timey like cartoon aesthetic. But I'm like, what? I don't understand what dictates what you'll fuck with or not.
I see a big thing that people just keep piping up every time they talk about Xbox, just Game Pass.
I don't understand.
We laugh about it, but it's so true though. It's like literally, I mean, that's like the main. Everyone talks about Game Pass. That's the main platform. It's like that's the platform is Game Pass.
Yeah, it's kind of like. I mean, I wouldn't say it's identical, but you know, when the Wii U was sucking, everyone's like, "Well, look how well the 3DS is doing."
I wouldn't say the same thing. At least
look at the 3DS is killing it, you know. But getting back to the original kind of direction, I just kind of wanted to get your guys' thoughts on, like, the fact that the PlayStation has all these games, and then you brought up the fact that they're having shortages potentially with memory, and the thing could be $500. It just feels unnecessary, like, to release the new system at the end of this year. I don't know, with the games that are coming out.
Well, I agree. I mean, I actually agree because that's what I was saying is that, like, it's kind of similar to Nintendo Directs, right? If you go on any Sony tweet, everyone's always like, "Where's the PS5? Announce the PS5, PS5, PS5," and I'm so tired of seeing it.
Well, yeah, you posted somebody who was like, "I'm just so can't wait for this generation to be over." I'm like, are you serious? Like, how can
why?
Exactly, and I don't get why, because I'm like, dude, this is the fucking year, bro.
And it's just getting good the last year and a half, 2 years.
Like, I'm like, dude, come on, man, this is the one. Like, this is gonna be fucking awesome, and it confuses me because people are more hyped for Spider-Man having no load times on the PS5 than new games like The Last of Us Part fucking 2, and it's like, are you serious? It blows my mind, and I don't get why, but it is. I see it so many, also often. All these Sony.
Well, that's what happens when you announce a new system.
But it's
like a new system, and you have all this hype build up behind it before you get out these last great games.
Yeah,
but so what do you think's gonna?
It's their own fault. It's their own damn fault.
They cannibalize themselves with their own new console.
And something has to give. Either the people aren't gonna buy these late PS4 games because they're saving up for the PS5.
It wouldn't surprise me,
or they're not going to buy the PS5.
Is the only heavy-hitting title.
I think Final Fantasy is guaranteed to be.
Well, Final Fantasy, but I look at that as more of a Square thing.
I was just talking about.
I mean, you know, that's coming. What is that coming next year to Xbox and PlayStation? I mean, PC and stuff.
It's just
But then you got you know,
and you know for sure those. I mean, do you think all the games that are coming out this year are also gonna have PS5 releases?
There's supposedly rumors that that's what's gonna happen. That they're gonna be like cross-gen.
But there's full backwards compatibility.
Oh yeah, that's true. But
and they're already making the game's already got to work for the Pro. So I would just expect them to hope. And I know a couple studios have said just build in adaptive resolution for the Pro that it can hit 4K, 60 frames per second. You know, when you're playing backwards compatibly on the new system, then I don't think too many people are going to take a pause with like, oh, I don't want to buy The Last of Us because the PS5's coming out. I want to get that version. I think they can be pretty safe to just buy the PS4 version and get a nice upgrade when they eventually get a PS5.
That'd be interesting. Yeah. But like, I honestly don't need I don't believe I will be shocked if November, December comes around and there's a solid lineup. Like, I think you're gonna drop. For some reason, people are hyping up Godfall, which I think is so random. And I think it's just because it's an exclusive.
Godfall's not that exciting.
We haven't really.
Yeah, that's all that is.
We haven't really seen.
It doesn't
much, so
look.
It's like,
you ain't seen shit.
You know what I mean? So, but because an exclusive, people are like, Godfall, bro, PS5, bro. And it's like, all right, listen, we have The Last of Us Part 2, bro.
Godfall could be a kart racing game for all these people. They ain't seen shit.
And what was well, in the meantime, I guess Mohammed's saying there's a Xbox media briefing on April 6th. I didn't hear about that.
I didn't hear anything of it. See, and Xbox might get themselves in trouble because, like, obviously Sony's doing that. I want you to go first so I can undercut the shit out of you.
It doesn't matter. I'm telling you, it doesn't matter this time because Microsoft is going to still end up having a cheaper console.
Overall, yeah.
And they're not going to make the mistake of having a TV focus, focus on TV and all that bullshit. It's going to be...
The only thing that'll hurt Microsoft is if they don't have their first-party lineup set up right.
Well, they also
they have and they're currently positioned themselves to have a good first party lineup potentially.
Well,
it all just depends on if they don't fucking drop the ball again. That's
the thing is, they need to come out. I don't care if the game is 2-3 years out, even come out and do that Sony shit and say, "Hey, look what's coming." Blah blah blah. Let's have some CG.
Yeah, but listen, we don't need another Crackdown 3. That's all I'm fucking saying.
Well, obviously, I don't think
that was a whole situation where they did that thing where they announced those games like years in advance, and the games came out, and we were like,
but they were in disarray at that point. I think they're finally set as far as their studios, their business plan, all that stuff. I don't think they have an issue with that. They just need to come out and be like, we got bangers coming, bang 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 from this studio. You love Ninja Theory. Here's what they're working on. They're working on what's the game?
Hellblade 2.
Hellblade 2. But after that, look forward to another Enslaved game, like all kinds of stuff that people just would go crazy over. That's what they need.
Robert's been trying to say something.
No, yeah, because I actually forgot that Microsoft said that the games that are coming out for the next like 2 years aren't exclusive to the.
Well, that's
they won't even. It's gonna come across gen. I did forget about that.
That's the question I was gonna ask, because they said 1 to 2 years. I think a lot of people, if it does well, I think it's gonna be 1 year.
Yeah.
But seriously though, like if you have unless you upgraded to the X, like are you gonna sit there? Are you gonna play Halo Infinite on a launch day Xbox?
Like mine, you're gonna sit there with my VCR. Xbox
I think most people that are interested in playing Halo Infinite, if they don't have an X, and I don't think the X was huge numbers. I mean, I would guess it's between probably 5 million tops, probably not even that. Out of the 40 million Xbox Ones. So I mean, I just think most people that want to play Halo Infinite, there's gonna be a decent amount of people who are just like, well, I'll get the game, I'll keep the system I have, and eventually upgrade. But I think just like with Breath of the Wild being on the Wii U or Twilight Princess being on the GameCube, people are gonna buy it on the new system. And
it's a little different because those are Nintendo's 2 worst selling home consoles.
Well, this is Microsoft's worst selling.
And the Wii U. Huh?
This is Microsoft's worst. Well, not the worst. Xbox original.
No, what I'm saying is you can't really gauge it by that, because both of those games came out basically the last few games that came out for the system, the GameCube and the Wii U, and they were the 2 worst selling consoles. So I mean, I think you're still right. I'm just saying it's hard to gauge it from that alone.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is, I think it doesn't matter. I think you just buy the game. I don't think it matters. I don't think there's gonna be 2 versions like Twilight Princess or Breath of the Wild. I think it's just you just buy Halo Infinite and it's gonna play whatever system you have.
Well, it has to be,
maybe.
Yeah. So
also, I do agree with CK Uzumaki's point that like Sony kind of got as much as, and people don't like when I say it because it feels like I'm undercutting Sony's accomplishments, but realistically, it's the truth. So a good chunk of Sony's like good starting off this gen was particularly because Nintendo and Microsoft kind of fucked up their intro.
That's not
And like and people, and I think the main thing is that like when we're going into this one, Sony needs to play the game cautiously because Nintendo's already chilling. They'll probably be chilling at least for the rest of this year. If fucking Microsoft is on their shit, and I'm not the biggest Microsoft fan, as everyone knows, so I'm not gonna give them like the 75-80% likelihood, but it's like 50-50 with me, where I'm like, they could be on their shit, and if they're on their shit, especially this year, it's like they can undercut the fuck out of them, and so I think, and it kind of goes back to the whole pricing thing for the console. Sony might risk it just in case out of paranoia, but it all kind of depends.
That's why competition's good, because it could push them both to go to a price they're probably not.
But it also, the only other thing is that Xbox seems to have a completely different game plan in general. Like the fact that we'll still be seeing those same games on the Xbox One. Hell, it wouldn't surprise me if we still see those games some of those games might end up on Switch or PC. Like it's just
I just don't see Sony do it. I think for them to freak out and drop the price, that's like a Sega move. It's like something Sony would do out of
It all
worrying
depends,
about.
man. I mean,
Well,
I don't think they risk losing that kind of money. That's more
I think they
important,
risk
would
it because
think.
from what I heard, Sony's the only profitable section in Sony right now is their gaming division, and from what I remember.
The movies are picking up, but yeah, you're right.
The movies are picking up. So I'm like, they may not, even though they think they could get more money, it may not be worth risking it, considering like your most profitable quarter right here is your game. That's my thing. Like Sony as a company is gonna look at that and be like, I don't know.
But that's also a risk too. That's also a risk as well.
That is true.
If you sell it at a loss, you're only studio, your only entity in your company that makes money. You're already putting them in the hole with every system they sell. Do you want to do that? Which is like, what's more important to you? What's the safer bet?
And I'm wondering if the reason
that's probably why they're so quiet.
Because I think they're probably still deciding if it's going to come out this year or not. That would be
could be.
Microsoft's already committed, but I don't know.
Yeah, because Microsoft is fine financially. They don't care. Xbox has never made any money. At this point,
Microsoft has stupid money. So
yeah, at this point, this is Microsoft doing this on a whim. Like, I guess we'll keep doing.
All right, let's transition here because I don't know if Clocked It fell asleep or not, but we better start talking about Nintendo. So wake him up.
No, I was listening to everyone. The reason why I did chip in is just I think you know me by now. I'm just so unenthused about the next generation. You know, I hear $500. I'm out. I'm like, fuck off. I'm not giving you that amount of money based off this generation. So all I would have added was hate. So I thought, let the discussion go.
I don't have a
the hate is entertaining.
As far I'm not super enthused. The most enthusiastic I am about this is that I get to play my old games on the new console, and that's pretty much where I'm at right now. So I understand where you're coming from.
I think the most excited I would be is if the PlayStation 5 was cheap enough for me to get it in the first year. And then actually play my PlayStation 4 games without the fan going.
That's funny. I was playing last.
About to take off.
I was playing last night, and I didn't want to rub it in, but I was gonna just record that I was running. I was playing The Last of Us remastered for about an hour and a half or so, and I was like, when there was no sound going on, I was like, I think I can hear the fan. I should just record it. But I was like, I don't need to rub it in to Clock It how quiet this thing is.
To be fair, I think it's only with certain games. I think it's just a really
intense one, like
demanding one. You know, I had to like with The Witcher 3, but the most I've had it really badly was definitely with Resident Evil 2.
Yeah, that one was the loudest for my.
Really, I don't remember that one being too bad for me. I think God of War has been the worst for me personally.
Yeah, but I think I think my console's busted in some way. So,
but yeah, Resident Evil 2.
I have it similar. Recently I'm playing a lot of Uncharted 4 the multiplayer with my girlfriend. Now we like playing games together, and I start the game up, and the PlayStation fan just goes fucking crazy. I'm like, what the fuck is that sound? Oh wait, it's not the Switch. The PlayStation just goes insane, and then while you're playing, all of a sudden it disappears. I'm always afraid my PlayStation is fucking breaking because all of a sudden it's like that sound. And, that fan is not funny how loud it is.
I wonder if it's like a thermal paste issue for you, Clocked, that it's just maybe drying out. It's not what's the word? Spreading out the heat, Well, I can't think.
Dissipating.
Dissipating, yeah. And but yeah, Resident Evil 2 on my Slim, that was the loudest I had heard the fan. On the Pro, I haven't noticed it. But
I can't imagine it being worse than a fan on my Xbox One VCR.
Yeah.
Boy, not only does it sound like is a Harrier about to take off an aircraft carrier, it sounds like it might be shooting lasers while it's doing it. I'm hearing like these weird laser sounds.
That's funny because my Xbox One S is absolutely silent, except for when I turn it off, and it's like I'm shutting down the house for the night and I turn off the lights and stuff. I hear the fucking hard drive spinning, and I'm like, and it's not super loud, but in a quiet room, I'm like, what the fuck? Why is it spinning? I wait like 5 minutes, and then it kind of you can hear the hard drive kick off, and then but it's still making this weird like slight crunchy like sound,
The Xbox 360 did that. Yeah.
And I'm like, what? So I unplug it.
I guarantee you, because the fan on mine is on the top. I don't know. I can't remember how the S looks, but my fan is on the half is like plastic, hard plastic, and the other half is like the fan or the vents anyway on top. I bet if I put a cheese sandwich on that bitch, that shit would grill within 10 minutes because this bitch gets hot. Boy.
Yeah, I keep my S in like a. I bet the opening is only maybe 4 inches tall, maybe 5.
Yeah.
And I tried putting my PS3 in there back in the day, and I thought the fucking vacuum was on. Like that's the loudest console I've ever heard, because it's like it's a small enclosed space. But I've had the S in there since day one, and I've played Forza. I played a shit ton of games that are pretty graphically demanding, and it barely makes a sound. So that's definitely one of the. It's the best Xbox console I've owned. I know the X is even better when it comes to the thermals.
It's definitely they learned their lesson from the damn 360. That's for
sure. So, but anyway, let's get to. I want to talk about something Clocked brought up in his video, and it was we've talked about a lot of this stuff, but he put it in a way that just. T's made the point about judging Nintendo based on Nintendo themselves and not anybody else when it came to the online and stuff. And it's like, when you started just like naming all the things that the Wii, the 3DS, and the Wii U had, and like how none of that stuff is on the Switch now, and it's like, it just was like, wow, put it into perspective. And I was like, holy shit, like, what? And I asked the question, I was like, what other consumer electronic device has taken away so much from the previous versions or previous product line that they had and gotten away with it without barely a peep from anybody? Like, I don't think there's anything to compare this. The fact that the Switch has almost none of the stuff the Wii, the 3DS, and the Wii U had. I just can't think of any other consumer electronic device that's done something like that.
The iPhone took out the headphone jack, and people wanted to burn the building down.
Yeah.
like so, if you want to compare, there's a comparison. That's the closest one I can think of. And that's
that
only
was a shitstorm. That stuff.
That's only one feature. So imagine
people started going like, the fucking Wii U gamepad is like a headphone jack and shit. That was funny.
And I mean, somebody was quick to defend it in his comment section, saying it doesn't want all that stuff. I'm like, seriously? You had it.
You don't want it. Good for you. But you had it. Did you complain about having it? No, of course you didn't. So the people that actually liked it, why can't we just keep it? Why can't we have it? And you can not use it, which is just bullshit. You don't use that shit. You're a lying bitch if you say you ain't. Like, I just don't understand that mentality. I don't get it. Like, I just don't get that. What are you getting out of less?
My point of the video was in line with that, but to say, it's reached a point where, I buy the game console now, where before I used to defend the GameCube against the PS2 and the Xbox, saying, no, the GameCube is a pure games machine, man. You don't need anything else. Blah, blah, blah. That's all you need. Come to today. The world has changed. Nintendo had changed, and we had a lot of stuff that was video game related that I fell in love with, that Nintendo fans fell in love with. That sold their consoles, and it's all gone. Like I said, I didn't care if Nintendo didn't add a DVD player. It's not of interest to me. But all the video game related stuff that we've had, and that has elevated video games themselves to the next level. For your, fucking hell, man, that stuff now is just as important than what I was saying it was. It makes us. We've all spoken about it, haven't we? About how we feel about the Switch. At one point, I was so excited about the Switch. I done videos on it saying the Joy-Cons are the most exciting thing here. HD Rumble can't see what Nintendo and the Switch does with every hope of all this stuff. This was before the launch. And then it launches, you're like, oh, okay, man, this is pretty bare bones. Pretty bare bones. Okay, given the benefit of the doubt. We're at this point now where we know we're not getting anything else. I mean, we barely get SNES games, we barely get NES games. The eShop is never going to change. Joy-Cons and some of their stuff, even for third parties, has been pushed to the side. This is just a grab your Pro Controller and play your new game. Is that type of console now?
Because I play a lot of the 3DS still. Like, it's exactly the bare bones thing. Like, I play a lot of the 3DS still, and like I open my 3DS and I have like the original. I bought like a theme on it, a Halloween theme for the original Zelda, because when you use that, it plays the original dungeon theme, which I really like. And you have like moving gyptos and shit. The folders look like fucking tombstones. You can create folders of everything neatly arranged and shit, and the sound effects. And then because of the badge arcade, you can make like a background. I have like Donkey Kong in there and shit. And then I started on my Switch, and it's like you said, the Switch is like this void of darkness. This is nothing there.
I forgot all about the badge arcade, because that was another little game thing Nintendo were doing. It's just a little free-to-play game. I didn't spend a single fucking penny on badge arcade, and I got so many badges just from like
same. And I've used that, like I said, on the background. You could like put them together to create like dioramas and then add anything you wanted to it. It's stupid.
Those were your something. Yeah, but this was all video game related. It was just to personalize your console. It was Nintendo.
Remember how cool it was to just like take your 3DS around and then get Street Pass hits and all that stuff? Like, everybody loved that. I was expecting that for Switch. Nope. Like, why would you take that away? That was a very cool interactive feature.
What the next level of Street Pass would have been like, especially on the little HD portable console like this, man. Fuck. I just like you said, pointed out, it's just like I can't, we've never had it from anywhere else. Now you can use the argument that each Nintendo console is its own little console by itself, but in terms of some features, those days are long gone. We need a persistent online shop that carries over our accounts. Like we said, we need a persistent account that remembers who we are. We need persistent messages services, which are all just substandard stuff, which are so integral to gaming consoles now and just communication in general. You can't take that stuff away anymore and expect to charge people, like I said, more, less. Sorry, go on. That's okay.
I was just going to say, because of the Street Pass thing, I was actually thinking about that, not even kidding. Like, we talked about Animal Crossing in the group chat, and I was like yesterday, the day before, and I was thinking of the Street Pass, where I loved it, how you had a whole area in the game. You could walk towards it, and you would meet people on the street. Their houses would come in those areas. So you had like cities of people's houses. They would give you presents and that kind of shit. Like, I love that Street Pass function.
Think of the bottles in Wind Waker HD, like the Miiverse.
Right.
Bottles.
Remember I said I went to London recently to watch a Nier Automata concert. The last time I went to London was to watch the Zelda Symphony Orchestra, and I fucking loved that. The last time I went, that's when everyone had their 3DS, and every single person who went there, thousands, hundreds of people, all took their 3DSs, and I completed so many of my puzzles. And I just remember everyone standing there with their 3DSs, and then there was one guy holding his 3DS up saying, "I've got that one purple piece no one else has got. Come by me." We're all like, "Yeah, that's the piece I've been looking for." we all. But that's I would have. Do you know what was on my mind before I got into London? Should I take my Switch? I was like, I could have taken it just to play games, but I thought my first thing I thought was I'd love to take it just for the Street Pass stuff, but it's not.
Yeah, that's exactly how it was going to, like conventions and going to PAX East especially. They had like a 3DS hub area where everybody would like go and hit Street Passes up. And that's you go home and you see people from California, people from Thailand, from everywhere.
Yeah, and
that was just the coolest thing ever.
That adds to gaming. Like that's not like that's not like watching Netflix or something pointless.
Yeah,
which
exactly.
I was trying to stress that what I'm lamenting is a loss of video game related features and system features, stuff like that. more than anything else. That's just me.
I quite enjoyed the like I remember I would bring it to Comic-Con, my 3DS.
Comic-Con, right?
And I mean I would never get street passes ever. Like I just never got street passes ever. But then when I went to Comic-Con every year, I mean that shit was like a million feet. And it was so cool because
there'd be
you
cool
would
stuff
see
like
everyone one at a time, you high five them. And then what was awesome is that the what was it? Was it called Find Me where you had the combat?
Me, yeah.
Remember that he had a fucking combat game in the
that was
the little
amazing. I mean,
and you would go to each stage. I think that was so fucking awesome. And it's great that they don't have. Remember, he had Face Raiders that wasn't pre-installed into the 3DS.
I thought that was pretty. Yeah, it's a good 3DS effect. That.
And that's software. I used the camera as well on the 3DS. My daughters played it with their faces on there. Fucking brilliant. But one Street Pass thing I loved was in my area, like Rob just said, I hardly any Street Passes actually around my house, but on some random days I'd always get this one me character, this one dude, and we started to realize that we just kept on crossing each other, but we didn't know who we were, where we were in the same. We must have been in like the same street or two from each other. So like when you cross someone on Miiverse, you could leave a message, couldn't you, saying hi, just really quickly. And we started working out that we both lived basically in the streets opposite each other. We never met, but we became like those little Miiverse things and shared puzzles with each other and stuff. It was just fucking great, man.
Yeah, and then like even on the PlayStation, they don't have like anything as in depth as the Miiverse. But I have, when I was like taking screenshots and stuff, I'd share them, and at least I mean, I got some every once in a while I get a like from just some random person because each game kind of has its own little community, but it's not as active as the Miiverse was. But if Terrell, I think Retro and I are friends now. If you just click on my name, you can see like my recent screenshots and any videos I uploaded or clips or anything. Like it's there. It's not as good as Miiverse, but it's something. Like if I like, I mean, you go to one of your guys' profiles on the Switch and just see some screenshots you took or something like that. It's better than nothing, and even those systems have that stuff, and it's like Nintendo could at least maybe slim down the Miiverse, but still had some version of it, It's just crazy.
I mean, they chucked it on a website. They had a website for it. It looked like they were getting ready to. They checked it on the 3DS. It was on the Wii U. They had a website for it. It looked like they were getting ready to make this a continuous thing, and then just snap, gone. Hey guys, we can't be bothered anymore. It's not working.
Yeah, shame because I mean I love Miiverse,
Yeah,
and I
remember
I spoke to developers on Miiverse.
Oh yeah, Shannon, I think
that was the coolest shit too.
Games I bought. I goes, guys, this game is great, and they'll come back to you. Thanks, we really appreciate you buying this, man. This was so unique and such a
do that on Twitter.
Such a system-setting feature to be in this ecosystem of gamers, and not just any gamers. This was Nintendo gamers, man. And then with Nintendo, with their firewalls up, this was such a cool, safe, and happy place to be. I never had one bad memory of Miiverse ever.
And like I mean, the whole thing is that what was great is that I was talking about something like New Super Lucky's Tale, and I could post some screenshots on Twitter, but no one really cares on Twitter. They're not going on there to check out your New Super Lucky's Tale screenshot,
Yeah.
And so like the community was great because when you go on your community, you see people that are also playing it, and you're like, where'd you find that? That's pretty fucking cool. You just like screenshots. You go on there, and that's what I loved about that. I mean, I loved sharing every game I play. I share like something like, dude, that's so fucking funny. But people on Twitter won't understand because they haven't even played the game. They don't even
exactly.
Like, there's no reference like it. So and it just damn.
So what do you think? What do you think? Because I kind of made this joke. I forget. I think I was just talking with Cray and T yesterday. We were playing Rocket League. It might have been before. I don't remember. But I was telling somebody, and I was just like, what would have made the the Wii U is successful, like I know the formula now. Everybody talked about the name and the gamepad. All they needed to do was have a shit ton of ports from the Wii, and then not tell us.
You were telling me about that.
Yeah, and then just like not tell us any games that are coming out this year, or and then charge for online. It's like that's all they needed to do to make the Wii U successful, because that's really I was just joking, but I mean the Wii U had so many great little things, and it didn't matter. And now the Switch has nothing, and it'll probably end up being Nintendo's best. It'll definitely be their second best. I think that's almost guaranteed.
I can't remember who posted in a Discord channel, but they posted Iwata's last
Direct.
Nintendo Direct. And I watched it. I was like, I needed to tee it up again. But I hated seeing him when he was skinny. When he had lost weight and stuff. I was like, oh man, look at this thing. I kind of hated watching it. But there's one little thing on there which makes me laugh now, because they had like Amiibo Tap, and you could tap any Amiibo, and you play a NES demo for a little bit. And now. And just like the Amiibos were being used for a lot on the Wii U for the most part, but that was just one little extra thing they gave for free. Just play some quick NES games. They're just NES games, have some just for quick, just like they used to give us in the original Animal Crossing. But now we're paying $20 a year to on every 2 fucking months or some shit.
So was it just the Switch? Is it just the popularity took over? It's that any negativity just kind of went to the wayside. I mean, if the Wii U had, even half the shortcomings of the Switch or missing things, like it would have just been.
You never heard the end of it. But
Iwata should have.
Somebody, I don't know, some YouTuber with a tiny channel said a long time ago that this shit was going to happen. He said the Switch was going to be popular after watching the Switch reveal trailer, and all this stuff that people were complaining about on Wii U was not going to matter. Sales, them damn sales though, and look, that's what's happening. It's a popularity. It happened to hit a lot of markets because of its form factor. And so all that shit. People had their lists. You remember their lists? Oh, it has to have this.
Oh,
yeah.
You remember in the beginning when people were talking about hidden fees and shit? Remember that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I made fun of it, but there actually is quite a few when you think about it.
Yeah.
It's like
Switch taxes.
People used to say, like, the Wii U is trash, it has no games. The Switch has the exact same games now.
Yeah.
Well, it's got a bunch of indie games and a bunch of last-gen ports. I mean, really, I bet you...
Go back and look at some of the videos. I was doing that today. Go back and look at some of the videos after, like, let's say, the launch trailer, and then, like, the event that happened in January 2017. People were just shitting on it left and right.
Yeah.
And a lot of those people have Switches right now and are trying to eat off Switch clip videos. And it's just pathetic. It's pathetic.
Who saw it coming, T? Who saw it coming?
Who saw that coming? I don't know. Negro dominance?
But I know what Robert was trying to say. That people were kind of trying to shit on the Switch. Remember Brian Altano saying, well, it's not 4K. It doesn't have VR. But thinking about it now, I do agree with some of that hidden cost video though, because micro SD cards almost. It's you need it. I don't care what you're doing. And if you're not even downloading them, just with updates and stuff, you're gonna need an SD card.
But here's the thing.
I remember people were talking.
I still think my argument stands on that.
I remember people talking about games like a hidden cost. I was like, wait, what? Come on, man. You have to buy.
You're still paying for a hard drive if you buy one of the other consoles. You're still paying extra for that hard drive. You may not see it. It may not be separate. But you're still paying more for the built-in hard drive. So I think
remember you said
the
that.
defenses I made of that were pretty fair.
Yeah, back when it was $400, I could see that. But the Slim came out and it was.
Well, now that's not fair though.
Yeah, the Slim came out though a year and a half later was $300, and
Well, we all know the Switch is overpriced as a bitch.
Well, yeah. So I feel like there was some accessories that are kind of for long sessions of portable play, like a grip or something, is kind of almost required for most people. Especially me. You know, the Pro controller became a requirement once I tried playing with the Joy-Cons and the grip, and I was just like, nah, I can't do an 8-hour session of Breath of the Wild with these things, you know. But anyway,
Yeah, I disagree.
yeah,
I played Breath of the Wild and Super Mario Brothers.
I tried, man. I tried.
Super Mario Odyssey, only split Joy-Cons all the way through.
Split Joy-Cons isn't bad, but
Breath of the Wild, yeah.
Still digs.
But it goes back to where people were taking a piss out of that, like, you know, before the Switch became popular. The controller looks like a dog face. I ain't buying that shit.
Oh yeah, that's right. The puppy.
There's all kinds of shit.
Just looking for any reason to hate on it straight away, you know.
Yeah.
So people, you know, flip around pretty quickly once something becomes popular, you know.
Exactly.
Just like
I'm surprised at how well it is. It's like, why didn't you think it was gonna be good? Like, what about it? Didn't you think it was gonna be good?
But what about
Nintendo plus handheld? Let's see what's gonna happen. I wonder. I wonder what's gonna happen.
What do you think would have?
Can I see? I'm sorry. Can I just say, because what was it? CK Uzumaki was putting in you know, some stuff that Nintendo you know, supposedly said you know, about why they didn't do Me versus Street Pass and stuff. But you know, this is Nintendo's mentality, man. You know, if this is true, where in Miiverse they did want to compete with Twitter and stuff, and this is why they got rid of Miiverse. But it was never a competition between Twitter and, you know, Twitter is a completely different platform to what Miiverse was representing in terms of what it was for Nintendo user base to communicate with themselves about particular games, and then Twitter would be that external platform for other things. You don't automatically stop using. I would, you know, who's going to stop using Twitter because they got Miiverse? Who the fuck's going to do that? No one.
Also, you would say that if Twitter is an app on Switch, it's not. So it's like, what does that mean? So
no, it's a completely different. Miiverse was something completely different, designed for.
Nintendo didn't have to pay money to have your post go to Twitter, or they had to pay money for Miiverse.
And if only your fan base, like, obviously it's great for, like, if you have a YouTube channel and all your subscribers and stuff can hit you up. But if you're just a regular average person playing games and then you're like posting to Twitter from your game,
no one's gonna see that shit.
Most of your friends don't give a shit about that. Like, they don't care.
Imagine if, with the success of Switch, if they had Miiverse, you know, what could have been if that was there on the Switch, and now you got 50-some million people. The community would just be ridiculous. They'd be.
Oh man.
Yeah, and also
it would be amazing.
The days on for Smash, every day you go on Miiverse, see the next pick of the day.
Oh yeah.
You know,
it was awesome. Utopia.
You could have made it more. Actually, added some stuff that was like little games. You know, like you go every day and you get something. I don't know, token or something towards some stupid free game or something. But just anything, just to give people incentive. And I always said the only people that said they don't care about Miiverse are people who didn't use it on the Wii U.
Yeah.
Wii U owners who didn't use the Miiverse were the only people who said they didn't care for it because they didn't use it. I checked. I remember Leveled Head. He kept saying, "Oh, Miiverse doesn't do anything for me." I looked. He never made a post. Which, if you don't make a post, then you're not reading people's posts. If you're not reading people's posts and not interacting, then you're missing you're missing out on what Miiverse is. It's like, but anyway, we better get to the other part. Only one more thing I want to just throw out there is, like, imagine if the Wii U's library was made up of a large chunk of PS2, Wii, and Xbox and GameCube games, like, if ports, not even like full remaster, just ports that the Wii U can run these games. Like, I just wonder what people would be saying instead of praising how many games there were and always talking about how many thousands of games the system has.
Well,
if they would have been
the Wii U was portable, then it would be okay.
That's what makes those games better, you know, those games you already played.
Yeah, those
now.
early 360 games that you know that you can play on your Xbox One if you already own them. You know, like oh, now they're gonna charge you. I don't know what the Metro Exodus collection is, or the Metro Redux.
That shit better not be more than $30. Kiss my ass.
But and it's like,
might be 60.
They're like, look at it compared to the 360 version, and it's like, yeah, it's technically the Redux, the PS4 version, but it looks closer to actually, that game actually was pretty close to PS4, but There's been other games.
It should be pretty close.
That Oddworld game, like literally the PS3 version
Stranger's
has better textures. Like, it's like, I mean, some of these ports, it's like, why are you even? You must put minimal effort in the Dark Souls remastered. It wasn't the Switch didn't get the remastered version. It got the 360 version at a slightly higher resolution, if I remember, or maybe I forget what resolution. And we're just getting like not even remastered, getting straight ports from last gen.
Who got forget the super smooth running Saints Row?
Yeah, they actually patched that.
How do they fuck up Saints Row?
They actually patched it, so I guess it plays.
But it shouldn't have needed that.
I know.
Yeah, it shit came out.
It's like this is a 360 game, but anyway, let's get to. We're gonna start talking about remastered, so that worked out. First, I just want to for those that played Xenoblade Chronicles, because just in case some information comes in the next couple weeks, I just want to get this out now. Like, what are some of the things that you want to see for the remaster? Like quality of life improvements, things that they, you gotta sometimes has passed, and we've had 2 other Xenoblade Chronicles games. What are some things you'd like to see them change or fix or update from the first game in this remaster? Because in my Jew's opinions, I was kind of focused on the people who are already saying that they've already decided they're buying the remaster or whatever it's called, the definitive edition, and all right at this point is that the visuals have changed. So for me, I want to know what quality of life improvements, because I didn't absolutely love what I was playing. So a visual change, if everything else stayed the same, isn't going to be enough. I need, like I'll give my things, like, being able to actually run and maneuver and get around the environments a lot quicker would be a nice addition. I would hope for. So I guess anybody that can think of something right now, like something you would like to see.
I'll go first because my answer is pretty quick. I never played it yet. When it came on the 3DS, I was like, hey, maybe I'll buy it on the 3DS because I like the 3D effect. But then I compared them and it just looked better on the Wii. And I was like, I ain't paying that fucking price for that game. So this is going to be my first time playing it. So I don't need any quality of life improvements because I don't know what the first fucking game is. The only thing I can say is I hope it plays a little bit more like Xenoblade Chronicles 2, but I know it won't. But so I have nothing I need because I don't know the game.
It plays more like X as far as you use the D-pad to select the art. But anybody that's played that game a lot more.
I like how Juice asked the question about quality of life, and Retro's response is, I haven't played the game before. So I haven't played it.
Yeah, I'm going to go first.
So, yeah, he can listen to us because you won't like the battle system. I'll just tell you that right now. If they don't do anything to it, it's like X, but a little less intuitive. And but so who's played it the most? You think here? Clocked it? T? I'm guessing.
It's probably between me and Clocked it.
I completed it. So
yeah,
I think T completed it as well, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sorry, I can hear you.
Okay.
I mean, after I completed the first Xenoblade, I rated it. It went straight into like my top 10 RPGs of all time. I absolutely fucking loved it. Absolutely loved it. I agree with they could definitely make some refinements to the battle system, which especially the time mechanic wise, which was very confusing.
Yeah, I never got
when you
that.
first play it. Yeah, it was always hard to get. I don't think I ever fully got it. And one other thing I'd really like to see a lot of improvements to as well is the gem system. There's a lot of gems in the game, and the tutorial and the making of those gems never made a whole lot of sense fully compared to probably what you needed to use them for, and how effective they were with your gear and stuff. Now, I'm not going to be like anyone like Shadow Fox is going to go too meta into the game, or like Morel with Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I'm sure you can go full meta into the game, but just from a general playthrough point of view, that definitely needs to be refined. As for the fast travel, I thought the travel was.
I just meant being able to there was no like running.
No, you mean just like there's no run.
Oh, just sprinting.
I think
stuff
it's
like
just
that, you mean,
yeah,
or
sprint.
kind of like in X where you could sprint if you wanted
Yeah,
to.
I think it was more of
Right.
a limitation of the. I bet you the Wii
Could've been
couldn't
a
handle
hardware
you
thing.
moving any quicker through the environment.
Yeah, I'm sure.
With 88 megabytes of RAM, you sure?
It's like Wind Waker with the ocean, isn't it? You know, they could only have you going so fast, otherwise you fall off the world and stuff.
I just remember my thumb getting so sore from holding up for so long trying to get anywhere in the game. I was just like,
my main one was gonna be gems, and I mean the menus are kind of cumbersome as well. Like I'd like to see some. I don't know what exactly they can do.
Well, yeah, because I was thinking that was gonna be my answer, or one of them, other than the running, is like, I mean, I know it was the Wii, you know, wasn't the most powerful system and stuff, but that Xenoblade was come out 2010 in Japan, 2011 in the US. To me, that just the whole pause menu and navigating with your gear and stuff, I felt like I was playing a fucking 5th gen game. Like it just, that menu it was just terrible. Yeah. It was the gem system. I didn't even try to mess with that. Just trying to find gear and stuff, and it was. I mean, X's had way too much gear as well, but it at least had a.
Oh boy.
I mean, it was at least legible, and the menu itself was fine. I mean, it was just there was a lot to go through, but it's just I felt like when I hit the start button, like it was like I was playing an N64 game hitting the start. It just felt like so dated.
Like I got used to it for sure, but for me, it's just like I got used to it after a while.
Sorry, Mami mentions the affinity links and stuff like this. Now, one of my biggest problems across every single Xenoblade, and I'm not expecting it with this game, is how jank and how unrefined the question systems are, item collecting, the affinity links. Because one of the things about the original Xenoblade that I really bugged up on when you didn't know about it is that you run around the field map. I mean, luckily now for Retro, he's going to know this from playing Xenoblade 2 and and X and stuff. You see those dots on the map, and you're collecting them, and most we don't have any fucking clue what these things are for, so they just store up. And I remember reaching limits to what I could collect on some items. I never used them, so I just sold them all. Then like really later on through the game, then you can start building like Colony 6, which is like this little settlement in the game, and you can start building that up and getting new quests in it. But these quests require a lot of the ingredients that you've been collecting the whole fucking time.
Lo and behold, all that stuff you sold.
Yeah, and a lot of stuff you're only given slight indications on where it might be. Some of them you're not even told where you found them and stuff. So, but I'm not expecting that type of quality of life from this remake.
Really, I would think the quest
X too.
Next level Xenoblade in general
as well.
I think the quest, keeping track of the quests, needs to be addressed. So that I was lost at like, oh fuck, I know I had a quest, I know there's something involving this thing I just seen, but I was like, fuck, if I can remember where it is or how to find. Like I mean, I only played the game for probably 4 or 5 hours, maybe, because on the Wii U I could play it on the gamepad. I could play the game on the gamepad with using the controller, and that's how I played mostly. Because and it was right after I finished X.
You probably just got to the main planes.
Yeah, I got to that.
Box, what you see
it was like a. I don't know if it was an industrial little spot, but then I think we had to rescue somebody, and then we went. Then there's like you get. I think it was on the hip or the thigh or something, where you had this big camera pan of this vista, and you could see.
Oh yeah.
Like and that's
yeah.
So that's pretty much where I got. But I was just like,
hours ago.
The quests were just so like lost once you took one, and it was just like I felt like they needed to be organized better, and I think something they could do is just make it easier to figure out what one's active and maybe hopefully they redo the menu. But I guess
it's not out to the realms of possibilities.
I guess Terrell hasn't played Xenoblade Chronicles because his mic's been muted the whole time.
No, I only played like a couple hours.
On what?
So
What?
Yeah, of the original Xenoblade. Yeah.
On what? 3DS or Wii? Or Wii?
No, on Wii. I actually bought the Wii version during the Wii U era. I played like maybe the first I played up until like once you got Shulkin Ryan and you went to like, and I was heading towards the Gower Plain, I believe.
Yeah, that's
like
not very
or the
far.
first, or yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, I was like, I played. Actually, my biggest issue was the battle system, and it's been so long I don't remember the specifics of what I didn't like.
Well, the whole once you get the Monado, the whole time I never figured out how to save the person that it showed was going to get killed. I never could successfully do it.
That was another thing as well. You know, that the Monado was so, most parts, you know, just for a casual player, it was so integral to surviving most battles because the Monado plays such an important role to see what the enemy was going to do in terms of their main attacks and stuff. If I took you know, like changed over to someone else or switched up that thing, man, I get my ass whooped. But you know, like I said, I know some people are going to go full meta into it, and you know they'll get like Melia and stuff like that, who's, you know, really good character. And
Well, what about just adding better tutorials? I think would be a nice something they could do, that when they could add without really changing the game, but just have a better tutorial system for everything. Kind of like Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
That'd be nice, because I don't want to do the Xenoblade where 30 hours in I know how to play.
Yeah. Well, either way, just anytime something new gets introduced.
This game is still kind of like that with the gems, you know. It's,
but from what I understood, the original Xenoblade is probably the most simplistic when it comes to battle systems. The original one.
Yeah, I don't remember how did you select arts and stuff, or were they just each character?
Yeah, you selected arts.
You selected the arts.
You selected arts. What was it was more that the time mechanic that was always felt a bit hard and you know, to understand it.
It's hard to master for sure.
Master and stuff, you know. It's yeah.
So just in general, talking about remasters, and I want to focus on like the ones that it's obviously the same game. It's not like they're building something completely from scratch, you know, like. But even like Link's Awakening was built from scratch, but they basically remade the same game, you know, identically. It's just with better visuals, sound, and all that. But whereas like Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is in the vein of Wind Waker HD, where it's definitely the same game. You saw, like I said in my juice pins, you could see the cutscene is 1-to-1. Yeah, they replaced the character model with more anime looking version from Xenoblade Chronicles, the Torna DLC. But you could tell it was still the same game run. It's still the same game code and all that. So it's not like they're building it from the ground up. So I mean, other Wind Waker HD I mentioned. I'm trying to think of other like Shadow of the Colossus. You know, I found out later that they just took the base code, and I thought they started from scratch, but they had the original game running in the background, and they just put the new game engine over it. So it was like identical controls and everything. So what do you guys, with that type of remaster in mind, like what do you like need for you to want to rebuy a game? You know, for me, it's kind of a game by game basis. Like Wind Waker HD was just, they made enough little quality life improvements, but it just looks so fucking gorgeous. Like it was like I needed that game on my Wii U, you know, like just to see like if it looked as good as it did in the trailers and stuff. I just couldn't wait to play that game.
Since I have a game that's, I don't know if it's coming out this year, but it's supposedly, at least I'll see more of it this year. It's the SpongeBob? Yeah, it's the SpongeBob game. Part of the reason why I want, for one, it's emotional attachment. If I really like that fucking game, it's either gotta be a game I'm super curious about or a game that I love to death. And if it's a game I love to death, for example, the SpongeBob situation, that is a visual overhaul, inherently. But I'm also, because if it's the opposite where you love the game to death, you're also the type that'll like notice all the little things that have changed. And for some people, that might be enough to deter them from being like, I don't know. But for me, it's respecting the original game and its design but modernizing it to fix the parts of it that are dated. Xenoblade's hard because I don't have that history with, like SpongeBob. I know that game was inside and out, so like that one I can touch base. Like, oh, I don't know, SpongeBob doesn't feel as weighty, or Patrick doesn't hit as hard with his stomach, like all that other shit. But I respect the original game and don't forget the little things. The little things will fucking kill a remake. It's for me sometimes.
Or if it feels too much like really no if there's like no quality life improvements and they're just like made it look like some of the HD games on the PS3 from the PS2 where they just literally just took the same game and put it in a higher resolution, maybe did some texture.
Oh yeah,
it's like didn't improve anything.
I mean,
I bought quite a few of those and then quickly stopped. I bought like Beyond Good and Evil, sorry, like Ico and Shadow of the Colossus, and a few games like that. And I noticed I didn't play them. I bought them because I thought, oh, there you go, I've got this. I got my system here, my current system under the TV. I love this game, and it's cheap. I'll play it again. But I noticed I didn't touch those, and like you mentioned, Shadow of the Colossus, and I remember having my thoughts on Shadow of the Colossus, where I think I've done a video on it as well, where I was just like, what type of remakes do you like? Do you like them completely, remade and everything's fixed, or do you like new art style but with the game exactly the same? And I didn't go back and buy Shadow of the Colossus remake because if I was being honest with myself, as much as I like that game on the first playthrough, I don't think I could do it again. It's one of those one-off experiences that at the time was great, but I'm not sure I could go
well,
back.
It depends
and do it
on
again.
how good your memory is, because I had forgotten literally all of them, but like all the ones that were puzzle based, like when there's the small one that's like a bowl or whatever, that charges at you, and I'm like, I spent 30 minutes trying to figure it out. I didn't look it up either. I'm just like, all right. I couldn't remember the solution, so to me it was like playing it for the first time on PS4.
I remember quite a bit. It took me a long time to complete the original Shadow of the Colossus. I'm not chewing this game out or anything, because, like I said, that initial experience was both wonderful and long. Because I could only do so many Colossi in a row before I got tired and fed up, so I could turn it off and come back out.
That's the other thing; it has to be replayable. Some games are like exactly what Clark had said. Some games are just kind of like, I play it once and I'm good, and I don't need, like, I like the game, but I don't need to play it again.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about Xenoblade Chronicles X. Like, I won't ever want to go through all those side quests and all that stuff again.
Well, I mean, those games are so beefy and long. I don't know.
Yeah, it's. I think Terrell put a really good, straight away said, you got an emotional attachment with many of these remakes. Those ones that are really going to call to you are those games that you fucking love. So, when you saw Wind Waker, of course it looked amazing. You're like, oh man, this looks great, and I'd love to play Wind Waker again. But yeah, I think it was also the added fact that you had your Wii U. And it was showing all the Miiverse stuff, all the new camera stuff, the quicker sales, the refined quests for the Triforce pieces, just all this cool stuff. I used to love the bottles. I used the bottles a lot on Wind Waker, sending messages and stuff, and finding them. So I had a great emotional attachment to Wind Waker, and of course, this was Nintendo also dipping fully now into the realms of limited editions. I had to have that Ganon statue, no matter what. I was getting that Ganon limited edition. That was another massive.
But I will say, they didn't charge full price for the Wind Waker HD. It was $50 at launch. So that Shadow of the Colossus was $40. That was the biggest selling point for me, because I didn't have I had my backwards compatible PS3, but I mean, it cleaned up PS2 games, but still, like, it didn't look great. I tried playing Shadow of the Colossus again, when I got the PS3, and I was just like, yeah, this is, like, you couldn't, even if you had it fill the screen, it didn't really look very good on an HD TV. It was never meant to be on there. The version you have on the actual PS3 remaster actually looks, I mean, it's the same game, but they cleaned it up and it runs at a locked frame rate, whereas the PS2 version ran at like 12, 15 frames on some of the fucking Titans. But if you're gonna do a remaster, and to me, full price is that's asking a lot. If it's just better version, or if you just cleaned up the visuals. Like I think Xenoblade Chronicles looks like more than just up in the resolution. It looks like they're doing a lot of work with probably adding textures and all that, going from Wii 480p to 10, whatever it is, 900, 1080, whatever. They're gonna have to do more work, but some of those where you're just actually just playing it at a higher resolution and not doing a lot more to it. I just, to me, full price is almost a deal breaker no matter what the game is.
Before we go too much into like the details of like the price and what they change, for me there's two reasons to get like a remake, like a remaster like that. I guess you should say more than a remake. Like either I have to never have played the game before yet, like Shadow of the Colossus, which I bought because I never played any of the other 500 versions that came before it. So I bought that because I always knew I wanted to play it. And like I said, Xenoblade 1 is an example of that too, where I never played the original. And for example, on the Wii, it was just too pricey to pay for that shit.
Well,
another reason is like basically building off what Terrell said is I have to love the game, but it has to add something to me to play. For example, when I knew the new Hyrule Warriors was coming out on Switch, I was still playing the old one. I was in the middle of the story, kinda, because I was wasting a lot of time on the adventure modes and shit. And I stopped playing that one. Yeah, we can hear you. I stopped
I feel like that's been a
playing
meme going on this podcast. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you.
So I stopped playing the original Hyrule Warriors because I knew that this one was going to come out, which also had the shit from the 3DS, which I wanted to be able to play, but I wasn't going to buy it on 3DS. I'm not going to play a fucking Warriors game with 5 enemies on screen. I refuse to do that shit. So I knew I was going to get that. So obviously Hyrule Warriors, it came with all this shit, plus extra costumes and shit. So yeah, that was a game I fucking loved. So obviously I had to get it for the extra content. And then that's like games like Darksiders 2, which I bought on the Wii U. And I love that game, but the DLC never came to the Wii U version. So I had to buy the definitive version, the remaster, which I don't like because it looks worse. But I needed to play that fucking DLC somehow.
What'd you get it on?
I have the definitive version on Steam.
Oh, okay.
Well,
but it looks worse. It looks worse not because like the graphics are 1080p shit. They changed the lighting and shadows. It looks dead. Like they sucked out all the colors of the glow effects and that kind of shit.
Well,
like
you're retro dead, dude. You like dead stuff.
Oh God.
What about you, Robert? Is there any games that you played that a remaster has come out later on?
That's what I'm saying. So I'm in this weird position where that hasn't happened yet. The games that I've played aren't old enough where they haven't really released.
Well, technically, some of the you could argue that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is kind of a remaster.
Yeah, all right. I guess we could talk about Mario Kart. I mean, but okay, so something like Mario Kart was where it was, it added the whole battle mode and it had, it was on the Switch, so it was new, so we wanted to play fucking Mario Kart on the Switch. So not gonna lie, dude, it's not like I didn't play the fucking game, bro. But like the whole thing is that for me, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm guessing, the time's going to come pretty damn soon when, there's going to be one day in our lifetime, there's going to be a Galaxy remaster. There's going to be stuff like that where I have played those games. And I've said it before where I don't need a Galaxy remake or remaster. I really don't. I just feel like you can make it prettier, but I think the game looks fucking gorgeous on Wii. Like I have no problem.
They don't even have to do that much because the NVIDIA Shield in China just got. I don't know, for whatever reason they got Galaxy 2 and it plays at 1080. It's just higher res, and that art style just looks great.
Just looks gorgeous. It just looks great.
They don't have to do that much to that.
Exactly, and so that's why like I don't know if I would really rebuy it. Like I mean. The only way I'd probably rebuy it is again. I mean, it's probably got to be another 10 years. I feel like I don't think I really don't feel the need to rebuy Galaxy. But just like I think it'd have to be a remake. Like they'd have to really not just up-res it. They'd have to, even though again it would just be gorgeous, but I think you'd have to like genuinely remake it. But at that point, I'm like, just make a Galaxy 3 if you really want to do that. Like you know, or if it's a remake again, I think it has to be collections. I think it has to be, you know, Galaxy 1 and 2 combined. I think it has to be stuff like that. But like a lot of these other ones that I have picked up, like remakes and stuff, I've just never played them. And you know, so that's it's got to be a game I haven't played.
Remakes in the I bought remakes in the opposite direction as well. It's like I bought you know, just as a quick memory, Super Mario DS 64 DS, which I think graphically look worse than Mario 64, even though they gave them, you know, slightly more modern looking character models. You know, but I bought that, you know, because it's for my Nintendo DS. There's 2 screens, loads of mini games that are multiplayer on there. It's just, you know, it's one of those games where you're just like, oh man, you know, let's play this in a different way, or with some improvements and stuff, you know. So
and I will
like
say,
you can go back, you can go backwards in the other way as well.
Well, with something like that one, it always confuses me where it starts to where one day there's a lot of the same game where I'm like, well, which version do I fucking play?
Yeah, because I just seen you bought Metal Gear Solid. I'm like, I almost wanted to say you should have went with the GameCube version, but the cutscenes, in the GameCube version are so ridiculous.
What's the GameCube version? Is that Twin Snakes?
It's still the same game, but it's called
Twin
Snakes.
I'll pimp.
I thought that was a fucking
Twin
sequel.
Snakes all day, every day.
I mean, it's
the thing with Twin Snakes did is it took the first game and it added the gameplay mechanics of the second game.
Yeah,
okay, so you're telling me it's a remake of that game?
No, it's not a remake. It's hard to say. It's like it's the same game.
It's a full remake.
It's just gameplay mechanics.
Yeah, they built that. It's completely from the ground up.
Well,
I believe.
I mean, I might just pick up Twin Snakes.
I would say though,
Twin Snakes is a
it is,
shit,
but
man.
it also has
don't listen to the juice.
It has some terrible cutscenes that go on and on and on. It's like you could see the Kojima.
That's what I like about Metal Gear, though. Like
I wasn't too sure about that.
I just like those over the top fucking action things. Like in 2 when the chick's walking, like the bullets go around her, all that shit. I love that shit. Like that's what I like about.
You like
Metal
John
Gear.
Woo movies too, so
corny John Woo shit.
Yeah.
Over on top of missiles and shit. Let's go fucking go.
Yeah, because I didn't know because I just I mean it's so many games on my wish list. So I got a ton since 1985 to now. Like the games that I just missed, I wasn't alive for, I couldn't spend money on, and so you know, I always do it where it just randomly picks, and so I picked out Metal Gear. But I was like, all right, well I'll pick up that one, and I'm thinking like, I'm pretty sure they did a remake of that shit though. I'm like, and I was trying to think, I was
it's only on the GameCube. It's never been anywhere else.
That's no wonder, yeah, because I'm like, and I literally was about to type in Twin Snakes, and I'm like, nah, but I'm pretty sure that's a different game. And I'm like, I'll just get the PS1, it's whatever.
So what do you guys think is the best remaster we've ever seen? I think it's Wind Waker HD, but
you mean from Nintendo or in general?
Just in general
that's remaster.
I just think because Wind Waker improved basically everything I didn't like about Wind Waker, other than the lack of dungeons, like how short it was. But
you know what,
the fast sailing, the everything, be able to just be able to steer your boat instead of have to, oh shit, let me hit the ocarina or whatever. I don't know if it was the ocarina or not. The Wind Waker, yeah, duh. And do the song and then change the direction and be like, oh shit, I needed to go northwest, not just west, and then have to do it again and have to memorize all the songs, like just that.
I kind of like that wind changing aspect. I thought it was sad that they kind of made it easier. Do it. I remember playing the original Wind Waker, and I swear, I'm not even joking, for half the game, I thought you could only put the wind like north, south, east, west. I didn't know you could put them like northeast and that kind of shit. So the half the game, I had to, for example, go like northeast, and I put the wind on north, and then just went a little bit at like a crooked angle and shit. When I figured you could put the wind in any direction, that changed my fucking game.
I do miss that, like the emphasis on like musical instruments and shit that you got from.
Yeah, I mean,
Ocarina of Time up to Wind Waker, like
you could still do all that. I mean, it didn't stop you from doing it, but it was like when it gave you the option to not. I guarantee you, not too many people still did the long, and it showed.
I just meant in games after that.
I get you.
Specifically speaking on.
But the gamepad.
Sometimes where I just couldn't be bothered changing the wind in the original Wind Waker, so it would always be the wind would be blowing it in your direction just enough for you to go like some
Really
fairly
slow.
like slowish speed,
Yeah.
and you kind of like angle yourself as close as possible.
And then like the how long it took for your claw to reach the bottom to see if you got the treasure chest or not on the original.
Oh man, the sea is pretty deep though.
I know, but it was just
that stuff never bothered me. Like I never had a problem with.
But once
I loved how different.
Once you play HD, like
Link's face, man.
Well, yeah, I mean, once you play HD, it's like, oh, why did I ever?
I think it literally. I think it's one of the examples of. I just could never. I can never go back to the GameCube version after playing HD. Like I have both. There's nothing that would draw me to ever play the original game other than just like I hooked my GameCube up and I was like, let me just throw it in there. But it improved in every good way. There was no like, in my opinion, there was no like bad changes. And then going back, even the original, like Robert will understand, like it was inverted controls with no option to switch, so you had to press down to look up when you're shooting the bow and stuff.
The way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Also, I will say that the one remaster I just want desperately. I would take is if they just tighten up the controls is Sunshine, man.
Yeah.
The one I would. That's one
true.
I would buy.
Blue coin bullshit.
What do you mean tightened up the controls? The controls are fucking sexual in Sunshine.
Yeah, I agree, man.
Come on,
trash.
Come on, you guys are crazy, man. You gotta go local now.
We got to go do this shit every time.
Y'all always do this shit.
Did you guys?
Y'all always do this shit.
Oh shit! I didn't upload a video, but
I want someone, Rob. I want you, right? I want you to do a video where you play Sunshine and Mario Galaxy right next to each other, and I want you to honestly, hand on heart, say which one controls the best. And
Dude, come on,
I did that. I literally did that.
Sunshine and piss.
I also feel like that's not fair coming from him, though.
Dude, the long jumps, all that shit when you're in the air, like you're able to control perfectly where he's at. I mean,
I went back to Sunshine right after beating him.
Hover pack. What are you talking about?
Listen,
that bullshit ass flick.
I went back to playing Sunshine right after Galaxy, and Mario moves so fast. He's so hard to control. And then anytime you get like where it's like a slight like those rotating blocks,
oh fuck that,
and you get to the corner, and sometimes he'd be able to run as as it's rotating, you got to run to the corner so that you can get to the top before it rotates. And half the time it would let you, and the other half he'd just slide to his death with nothing you could do. And it's like just little things like that.
Especially like during those little segments where you don't have flood.
That's
half the time
those
you
are the
wouldn't fucking
best
jump.
segments, man.
You go to the edge to jump, and your ass goes right
I
off
think the
edge.
hit detection was off.
They'll never understand like that.
It's trash. Like it felt so bad.
If we ever all meet up as a group, I think the first thing we should do is have the Sunshine discussion. And then just beat the crap out of each other because we need to go down.
We should do
like a lot of times.
Like the original Smash Bros. Commercial, we all each put like a costume on. We just beat the shit out of it.
Those fucking furries over there.
That is the only Mario game that I feel needs to be remastered. Like, and none of the other ones.
I 100% is Super Mario 64, and then I went to Sunshine, and I'm just like, Jesus,
fuck this.
It's just like I don't like literally. Even if you just like move the stick around back and forth, the way he goes, and he like
you can see his little feet fluttering and shit. Like,
yeah, like the dude is. I don't know.
Anyway.
He always takes an extra step. He takes an extra step all the time. It's like, why the fuck are you moving? I barely touched that.
He's sliding. He's always hitting balls. Like fuck that shit.
Let's see if.
I'm done with all of this. This is just nonsense.
Let's see if there's a question or two we can answer in that.
I'm fed up.
All right, so this is from Dave97. He wants to know who can do the best Review Tech USA intro impression.
That's clearly. I've already done it. That's clearly me. Remember the skibbity bop and flip flop?
Yeah, somebody just did one that sounded pretty good, and I couldn't tell who it was because.
Oh, that was me. I'm sorry.
Try it again because somebody was talking over you.
Skibbity up and done up.
I don't even want to try.
Skibbity bop and done up.
You gotta be the scat man to understand that kind of.
I'm the scat man. Fuck that
I
song.
fucking hate that guy, but the intro is quite funny.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I can do it. It's
Oh no! Oh no!
Do season.
That's the new one right there. Remix fee, man.
Jesus Christ!
So Robert, what are your thoughts
I was
on
like a Tasmanian devil.
Remix.
Robert? What are your thoughts on Hoko Life? Hako Life.
Oh, yeah, people are trashing on that shit so much. That basically, it's like on this one man, poor one man developer is developing, I guess, basically an Animal Crossing clone for, I guess.
Oh
Steam.
yeah.
And I mean, it is what it is. I wasn't offended by it. I looked at it, and I mean, I'm like,
You
hey
shut
man,
up, man.
it is what it is. Like, let that man make
Probably
his
got
game.
more new ideas than this new.
Wait, what's
New
the game
Horizons will
called?
have.
Hoko Life, I think so, right? It doesn't have new ideas. It doesn't
They
have
probably
more
have more
ideas.
new
They
gameplay
always have weird
mechanics.
ass names. Tum
No,
Tum.
it does not. It does not have
We
more
trying to
ideas.
be different out here, T.
But what I do like that I do like is how
Let
in
me
it
live.
they had it where you could design the furniture where you actually like I think it was like you were able to like almost craft not craft, but it's like you drew the furniture. I already forgot how it was. But the way he placed the furniture stuff, it was pretty cool. Maybe Animal Crossing could take that actually. And but I mean, you know, it is what it is. But it's only cats and dogs, I think. You know, it's not like it's all animals, and it's obviously not going to be nearly as big as something like New Horizons. But it's one guy. He's doing his passion project, and people are disliking the shit out of it. And I'm like, dude, you guys are fucking haters.
Yeah,
Jesus
people are
Christ.
fucking. You got to
People
look
are
at the situation, each thing. Like if 1,000 people make Assassin's Creed, and you know that some executives are making these stupid decisions, or EA's, you know, adding all these microtransactions, you can hate on that stuff. But one person who's making a game.
To be fair, you shouldn't hate on that either because the developers are the ones that lose in that situation.
I know, but still.
The
Fuck 'em,
makers,
that's what.
you know, it's one guy that's just he obviously wants to pay homage to Animal Crossing and let him do his thing, man. Jeez.
All right, so this is
He
will be
loves
the
the game,
final.
obviously. That's what you do when you love a game. You kind of mimic it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right, so simple question from Ipsters. When the Switch came out, did you consider it as the start of the 9th gen? It seems everyone thinks it's still part of the 8th gen, despite Wii U being 8. It's the next console, then it's a new gen. But, you know, I get it technically. It's 9th gen system for Nintendo. But when I say current gen games, I'm talking about PS4, Xbox One, and Switch, you know, like, because those are the current gen. So I'm not saying they're both the same gen, but they're both the current generation of consoles for each company.
Yeah, that's the thing. When you say current gen, is like you said, it's the games being released now. But people need to stop being like the 7th gen is like Wii U, Switch. No, it's like the Switch is Nintendo's new console. It's their new generation. Nintendo broke free from the generation shit like years ago and shit. It's not a new generation when everybody on the same line has a new console at the same time. It's just stupid.
And also,
I think it ain't by choice, though.
generations now are getting blurred. You know, like I don't know what's gonna be happening in the next few, in quotation marks, generations. You know, I don't really know what's gonna be happening.
They started a year before everybody and quit 4 years into the console. So, and the other guys, you know, are still going right now. So I understand the confusion.
Yeah.
Because what can you do?
Technically, the Wii U is like, well, the Switch is almost like 8.5, you know, because it wasn't a full generation, and it's got a lot of this. I mean, it's not that much different in power, and it's got a lot of the same games. So it's you know, but technically it's the 9th gen. If you're just technically talking.
Yeah, technically it's 9th gen,
but even so, again, I don't. We'll see what Microsoft and Sony do after these consoles. What they're gonna.
But
decide
it's like, do you consider it competition for PS5 and Xbox?
No, I mean
not, and I don't. So that ends the discussion right there.
It's not direct competition. It's going to be getting, like, the games are going to be drawing people possibly away from PS. Like if Breath of the Wild 2 came out this holiday, and you got, you know, probably 60 something, almost 70 million Switch owners, you know, that could impact PS5 sales and PS5 games and Xbox Series X game sales. You know, if a game that is, you know, drawing people away that have a Switch and also potentially be a PS5 owner, but when you really look at it, a couple years from now, you know, it's kind of like the Switch is the 3DS. Going to be like the 3DS was compared to the 360 and PS3. You know, it's going to be. It might not be that big of a gap, you know, as far as what the games look visually are going to look like, but I think it's going to be closer to that than.
But you got to remember that, like, nobody's in competition anymore. Every fucking week, somebody from some company's coming out,
Yeah.
Nintendo, Microsoft, or Sony. Oh, we're not in direct competition with it.
Yeah.
Fuck you. I'm tired of hearing about how you're not in competition with anybody. Shut up.
I honestly couldn't care about the numbered knife generation thing. It's almost like it's like if people were still going on about what bit generation are we in now? You know, we went past 128 bit. Where do we to now? It's kind of like that mentality of trying to.
And it's stupid too. Like, I don't think the generation tracking is even. I disagree that the NES was like the third or fourth gen. You know, I think that would be, to me, that's second generation. Like the Atari and all that shit's first generation. To me,
there's so many
boomer.
so many computers back then. And it's just, you know, sure you can have a familiar, you know, development field in terms of where developers are in terms of pumping out their games and stuff across you know, various platforms or whatever. Each platform now is just who gives a shit? You got the PlayStation 5, Xbox, and then you got the Nintendo Switch or Nintendo's next console. That's just where you are. Mm-hmm. That's what you're buying into. Just
what was the first gen? The fucking Odyssey of 72.
That's what I don't get. I don't even know what.
Then like Pong. what was the competition for Odyssey? There was nothing. So I don't understand that either. I think you're probably closer to where NES should be like second gen.
Mm-hmm.
Atari, Coleco, that's all first gen. You know,
to me, that's
when modern gaming started. So,
but it doesn't even matter because Microsoft's trying to blur the line of generations, like with forward compatibility. Like their games are coming out, it's not just gonna kick the old system immediately to the curb.
Won't matter.
And that's something that we didn't really talk about. Maybe we pick up on next week. Is we were talking about the Switch and how it didn't carry on with the Wii U, but like Nintendo is still just kind of I don't know if it's stuck. But they're still in that mindset that, you know, you have this console, you have these games. When the Switch 2 comes out, the Switch 1's just going to instantly get no support from Nintendo and just be pushed to the side. And I don't think that that's a strategy that's going to work moving forward.
Wii U still around?
It's still around, but I mean, like,
Netflix soon.
Yeah, it's just like immediately kick to the curb, you know, like, but Sony's always kind of supported their systems, like in the transition between, and now with, I think the Series X and PS5, it's going to be even better, like for the backwards compatibility, whatever is going to be there, and the Xbox, as I already said, the controllers, Xbox One controllers will work on the new system. It's like that kind of stuff is how it should be moving forward. Like unless Nintendo's got some ace up their sleeve for some amazing new controller that the Switch Pro controller and the Joy-Cons aren't going to be able to do. I'd rather just...
Why doesn't the Wii U Pro controller work on the Switch? Oh, money. That's why.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have the share button. It doesn't have all the same buttons, but...
I can still use my Super Nintendo controller on that bitch, though, can't I?
Yes, you know, so I'd like to see the whole...
GameCube.
The generation, everything you bought and stuff, like now that's irrelevant. You got to buy all new stuff, kind of end, and I hopefully Nintendo does that. But we can maybe address that a little more in depth next week, depending on what else there is to talk about. So that's gonna be it. Yeah.
Jesus.
Quit begging for Drex, people. It's and it's like
go play some games you don't care about. Go.
I will say though, I you know, because I know we have split opinions in here on that topic. I'm not like sitting here just dying for a direct or anything, but I am against the idea of just telling people to just play the games you have, because to me a direct doesn't mean that like those games aren't coming out, like Terrell said in his video. Like those games aren't coming out anytime soon, so it's not about what I have to play right now. It's just about wanting to know what the year's looking like, and it's just, to me, it's, yeah, I can't wait. Like when they announce one, I'm gonna be super excited, but I'm not sitting there thinking about, oh man, I wish they had a direct at this point. Like I just.
And also, the other thing is, who the fuck are you to tell me what to play? You don't pay my bills, bitch.
Because I have games to play. I mean, we played Rocket League for 3 hours yesterday, or T and Cray and I played Breath of the Wild for about 3 hours this weekend, and then I played The Last of Us Remastered. I have plenty of games to play. That
we're not sitting around here like letting to play.
But I still would I think that it's getting to the point where, like I asked you guys, like, when do you jump on the bandwagon of, all right, Nintendo, where the hell's the direct? Like in March, in April, May, or we just wait for E3 at this point? Like, I mean, I feel like it's just been long enough. We don't know anything for this year other than Xenoblade and Animal Crossing. So it's like, I just don't know what.
And one last thing. Even if you don't care about like how we feel, of our thirst, or whatever you want to call it, what about the fact that you have all this awesome momentum? You gonna give that shit up to the Series X and the PS5? Like, why are you? That's not a smart business move either. You want to keep your fans engaged and let them know what's going on.
Yeah, because they nailed it with the Switch reveal. They just kept. It seemed like every month there was something, some kind of info, some kind of video, some kind of. It wasn't maybe a full direct. They had a what was that first direct that was like focused on a game series? It wasn't Xenoblade, was it?
Fire Emblem?
Fire Emblem. They had like a Fire Emblem direct a month after the January direct, which was 2 months after the reveal of the Switch. And then it felt like they just kept that momentum that way, and it's just.
Well, I mean, to be fair, we just had the Pokemon in the
yeah, people act like we haven't had anything.
I was gonna say, if you count the Fire Emblem Direct, we've had 2 this year then already.
In that case, we had the Pokemon Direct.
It'd be a difference
right after with Smash.
I guess my issue is that I understand
shit about Pokemon.
I can
Pokemon
understand
does it every year though.
I mean, it's sold.
But I'm saying I can understand people's concern for Direct, but I also understand people's like, shut the fuck up. Like, I can completely understand you sitting there in the back and you trying, and you're on Twitter. Now, granted, Twitter is a toxic cesspool to begin with. That's besides the point. But the point I'm saying is, if you have the right to bitch about a direct, I have the right to bitch about you bitching about a direct.
Here's the thing that I don't like. Here's the thing that I don't like about it. It's like, obviously, like, I want a direct. I just like the hype. I like the games.
I completely understand.
But what I don't like about it is that aspect. Is that when you, for example, you have like a trailer on Nintendo's channel, some random indie guy, he's releasing a new game. Maybe he's expecting feedback. He's like excited to see what people think, and all his comment section reads is West Direct.
Direct.
Yeah.
I haven't seen
it. It's annoying.
Like, I'm not sitting here saying, "Oh, why the fuck don't you care about a direct?" So why should you be care about what I want?
Because the whole thing is that
I'm not hurting you by
intrusive.
saying
it's
I'm not intruding on you.
Not you.
I'm just saying but I don't understand how that.
You're just what they're talking about is people person. Just harass in the comments of an unrelated video. I get that.
Yeah.
But
I get that. Yeah.
I'm not talking about you, T. I mean, you're sitting there peacefully, you know.
Because I see, honestly, I've seen.
As soon as you open your fucking mouth, you have a problem.
I've seen more people
that all the time. If you go on any Nintendo tweet, you just want to read a tweet, and everyone's like, "Where the fuck's Direct? Calm the JIL. Shut the fuck up, Direct." Fucking
yeah. Actually,
it's like every Nintendo tweet that people all like, where's fucking, you know, where's all these games? They do that shit all the time, like that.
Yeah, but
I just move on. Like, it don't bother me. I just like it's stupid.
But that's the thing, is that it's a constant cycle. You know, the direct comes out, and then 2 weeks later, people want a new direct. You're like, bro. What?
Well, here's the thing. From my perspective, is I guess I don't read those comments. If I see a video or a tweet, I did comment on the NES game edition, saying I'd much rather have be able to message my friends than getting some old NES games. So I throw the online stuff, but that was related to the video because it's Nintendo Switch Online.
Well, yeah, I mean that's related.
But I've literally seen...
like they posted that tweet about Snack World because they've been pushing that because that game just came out, And every time, and if you go in the comment section, all you see is a bunch of "Where's my Nintendo Direct" memes and shit.
And it's annoying because it's like, and it's some ignorant fucks who like see a red logo and they're like, "Oh man, I thought it was a Direct." I'm like, motherfucker, you did not think it's a Direct. Stop! You're frustrating me. You're annoying, bro. I want to be like me and just blocking one.
I like T's point though, because you got some people who love to report on rumors and speculation and bullshit.
Right.
Who are telling people to quit asking for a Direct. It's like,
oh no, yeah, no. Well, that's
consume my fake news, but
don't get me wrong.
But don't dare you ask for real news.
Consume my fake news.
Dude, I saw some. I forget. I don't know what video I saw it from, but I saw it's like Animal Crossing Direct soon. Rumor. I'm like, come on.
See, that's what I'm saying. These people.
That's because they're profiting off of the hype.
I know.
Profiting off of this.
I'm like, dude, you gotta have some dignity.
That's just the problem with the internet in general.
Yeah, this isn't this isn't the NX where people like where they had to put at every Direct no new info on the Nintendo NX or mobile, like because people were fiending for it, and you're like, and I think it was Leveled Headed Gamer. I was like, dude, I was like, they still have Paper Mario coming out in October. I said, Nintendo, like they just respect their developers. They're not gonna shit on the team who made Paper Mario by announcing the NX a month before Paper Mario comes out and killing it completely, even though it already
undercutting it.
But so I was like, don't expect anything on the NX until after Paper Mario, and I was absolutely right. I even guessed the exact day. This to me, this is
being a shill.
Yeah, to me, this is like, and it's not like last year was almost the same time frame. They have a September Direct and then a February 13th Direct. So I mean, if there was one this week, it'd be almost the same. It'd be like a week difference. But the only difference from last year is you knew about Animal Crossing. Let's see, we knew about Luigi's Mansion 3, Animal Crossing. Supposed to come out
last year, folks.
There was like 4 games. Fire Emblem you knew about. Pokemon you knew about before at this point last year before Direct. So there was 4 major games you already knew about because we were like, man, what else is coming? This year's already looking pretty good. And then like this year there's this like Animal Crossing still didn't come out. So it's like
what I'll say is if there is a Direct, right? If there is a Direct that comes out one of these days and there's a lack of content, then I'd be like, wow.
Well, yeah,
but
that's
the worry.
That would make more sense.
If there's, I think I'm confident in the fact that this second half is going to have a good amount of games. I don't
know why.
I don't know why not though. I don't believe why not.
But I mean, again, 2018,
yeah, but that was 2 years ago. I don't believe it's going to happen. I just don't believe it. I don't think so.
Not
I think
to
that
that
was
degree.
So
I think that was an anomaly. I think that was an anomaly.
Do you think there's another game coming out before E3 from Nintendo other than Animal Crossing?
And we don't know about it.
That's why I said second half.
I wouldn't say not before E3. If anything, it's going to be repeated for 2019.
Edition,
for 2019 was overflooded.
It's going to be a repeat, right? It's going to be bam, 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 bam. Thank you, wallet, man. And like that's. I don't want that shit.
I mean, but again,
so
to be fair, 20 is awesome. So I don't know. I mean,
it was awesome.
That's why I said I'm chilling here in a sense of indifference. I feel like the fiending comes from a bunch of. The problem is Nintendo has a bunch of different game franchises, and some people only care about like 1 or 2 of those IPs. That's why when the Smash Direct happened, you got Smash is probably one of the more general franchises. Even then, you still have certain people who only cared to a degree, and then once you realize what character it was, it kind of made it worse. Pokemon is the same thing. It hits a good general audience, but not everybody gives a fuck about it. The reason why people like Directs is because it's a combination. You'll get at least one thing you like in a Direct. So I understand it, but it'd be a different story if Nintendo hadn't put out anything. It'd be a different story if I had got absolutely nothing in terms of news or in terms of like game output at all. That's not what's happening here. They're still putting out things. It's just shit you don't care about. I mean, that's
did you not see my video, son?
The Pokemon.
No. Well, I'll be real with you, I did not.
The Pokemon company.
Nintendo with all of this, with as much as money as they're making and as much as they're selling, they can't put out more than what they did on the GameCube.
Oh yeah, there's that whole discussion too.
I agree with you there. Don't get me wrong. I thought there'd be definitely more.
Yeah, we'll have to have that.
We had 2 Metroids Primes. That's a whole discussion. But we
Yeah,
had
we're
2
gonna have
Metroid
that.
Primes in the first 3 years of.
We'll discuss
GameCube.
that
Come
next
on,
year
man.
or next week because
Do better.
I seen somebody throw a list together trying to prove that 2018 and 2019 had more output than than it did. Like counted Labo 4 different times. The
Nintendo
4 different
Level
versions.
Part
They
5.
counted the Pokemon games.
Once.
Listed the Pokemon games separately. Let's Go Eevee,
separately,
Let's Go Pikachu, Sword and Shield as 2 separate games. Then it had all the Wii U ports, and then it had the 3DS, which was all ports. All the games were remakes and ports on the 3DS. And be like, look at all those games, and people were like, yeah, look at that, man. What are people talking about? I'm like, are you serious? You're looking at I'm looking at the same list, and that to me it hurts your argument, not helps it.
Did you just start gaming 2 years ago?
But anyway, we'll talk about that next week, and but if who knows when there's going to be a direct? But I guess let's just ask. I'll just ask this one thing, and we'll leave. If a direct doesn't happen and February ends? There's
going to be the Animal Crossing direct.
What month do you start saying, what the fuck, Nintendo? Why don't you have like a general direct at this point? Like for you, what month is
April?
April?
Yeah, I would say April because kind of like how you think about Paper Mario.
Yeah, I say April.
Is that how you think about Paper Mario? How you
April will be what the fuck? Because at that point, it's like, bro, you didn't do anything for Animal Crossing, and that game's come out. That was like the main heavy hit. If you don't do anything.
I say if you don't do anything before Animal Crossing, then you're like, what the fuck?
I guess I'm easier when
general one, not an Animal Crossing direct.
I guess I'm just easier when it comes to that stuff. Like I said, I was hyped for it. I want one, I'm excited. But if we don't get one, I'm not gonna lie. It's not gonna bother me one fucking bit. And I'll just wait until E3. I really don't care.
It really doesn't bother me.
Well, you got no choice. I mean, you're gonna wait till E3, whether you like it or not.
I know.
No, I just know shit will come. I'm not laying awake at night thinking, "What's my direct?"
Bro, we all know shit's coming. It's not like Nintendo's gonna stop making games for the Switch. We all know shit's coming. That's not the point.
Well, here's the point though. Last year, you didn't know.
The point is the speed in which you were notified.
You didn't know Mario Maker 2 was coming out until the February Direct, and then it came out in June. So if they don't have a Direct before E3, then there's not going to be a game of that caliber coming out.
I believe 100%, no matter what, there's going to be a Direct. Maybe dedicated or not, I would assume not dedicated before Animal Crossing launches. I don't see them not doing that, considering how big Animal Crossing is and how little we know of the game.
Yeah, I think
and I did do Mario Maker 2 is coming because the fake news told me. So
can I just add to finish up because
you have the last words.
We were on talking about remakes just now. I just read that the Final Fantasy VII remake and part 1 of 77 it's going to be 100 it's going to be 100 gig download, just for a little bit of there we go.
Episode 1.
Yeah.
Episode 1.
I'm telling you, that's the only
and on
reason.
2 Blu-ray discs.
That's the only reason. Well, other than financially, that they're not trying to put the whole game on one game, because it's just there's no way it would ever fit.
Fuck you,
what they're trying to do.
Response to that.
But all right, so that's gonna be it for the podcast. Sorry, Visor Grunt, I didn't see your question. It's too late now. We got to get out of here because it's late over in the European air, whatever time zone it's called.
You got separated now. Retro Europe. I'm just.
Oh yeah, they're separated.
Yeah.
We might not even be the United Kingdom anymore. So if you just say Wales, Wales from now on, that'd be good.
You're technically still Europe. You're just not European Union anymore.
Yeah.
All right, so we're out of here, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll be back next week. Do it all again.